Nerdrotic.com.
Welcome, travelers, to the fringes of reality, where the strange and mysterious meet, and the thin veil between fact and fiction is torn. Welcome to the Forbidden Frontier.
Oh, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. And they ended so abruptly. We got to do that again. 100 episodes! Is that yours?
Yeah.
Oh.
I wanted to really amp up the claps, you know?
Double.
That's good. We need to. It's
I know.
Okay, I rolled usually the guest gets here and everybody gets into the streaming room before we start, and I came in like last minute, and it was one of those situations, and they're all quiet. It's like you were all talking shit about me until I got here, weren't you?
No, we were talking
Small
about
amount. Lord of the Rings.
about how Gandalf actually tortured Gollum in the beginning of the book. It's like, damn.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea.
No, in the book, Gandalf is well, this is a bad way to say it, but he's way harder. And Frodo,
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Frodo is a little harder too. He's a bit of a dick.
Good.
Yeah.
All right.
Samwise
see.
is, Master Frodo. Always, is always mindful of his place.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, that world was saved by a landlord. Let's not forget that.
This is true.
Not forget that. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's good that you're reading your kid that book.
Yeah.
You're doing it right. You're doing
Hell
it right. We are lucky. This was a happy accident that we have an amazing guest on our 100 freaking episodes of this. This is crazy.
Yeah,
And-
congrats, guys.
Thanks. Half of them are monetized, which is even better.
Not last week for some reason. The heck? Last episode. I don't know why.
Last episode. What did we
What,
get
got
into?
dinged?
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We get dinged a lot.
It's the news thing, I think. Something
It was
about
a
that,
news
I'm sure.
segment, and we might have gone off on gain of function or something like that. I don't know.
Oh,
There's a whole number of
Yeah.
things that could have been said.
Yeah.
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 Not going to talk about that this episode because Ben has been traveling the world. Well, you were in Egypt at one point, right?
Egypt and
Yeah.
Turkey.
Egypt and Turkey.
Yeah,
So-
7 weeks though. It was a super long trip.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Yeah, I'm happy to be home. To be honest, it was almost too long. I mean, I just every year I get out to these places, but this was the longest one for quite a while. That's a long time to be living out of a suitcase and not be at home and not making content and being in the studio and stuff like that too. So yeah, but it was great. Like, there's nothing to complain. It was fantastic. It was an excellent trip, and I had people with the whole time. We had Yusuf, we had Cole and Russ, the Snake Bros. So we kind of had the four of us at least just pushing through all of that and all those places. Saw a bunch of stuff that we hadn't seen before, but great trip, but a long one.
I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah.
I saw you guys posted the cart ruts.
Yeah.
A bunch of stuff. It's really, really cool.
Well, Turkey was, we'd been to Turkey once before, and we did a trip, and it was but pretty much all limited to the Şanlıurfa region, which is the southeastern Turkey, Göbekli Tepe, the Tas Tepler civilization, if you like, Karahan and Göbekli Tepe and all these other sites. And it's a really nice part of Turkey, but we had always wanted to get out to, Cappadocia region, where that's like Derinkuyu and all of these underground cities. That's more like central Turkey, and then if you head to the west of there, you get to the Phrygian Valley. I mean, and Turkey has stuff literally everywhere. Like, Turkey's one of those places. It's Fertile Crescent. Just everywhere you look, it seems like there's some flavor of ancient civilization, like ancient ruins and things in different places. But and then in Phrygian Valley is where you find these cart ruts, but also some like the King's Road. There's a whole bunch of other stuff, but the cart ruts were a major objective for this trip, and even just finding them is a challenge. Like, it's just not like these are a tourist attraction. And there's been like you find some Russians that have been out there, and there's like some GPS coordinates you can find. Then you're looking on a map, you don't really know.
Look at that one.
It doesn't look like it. And
Well,
then,
I'm sure it's only a matter of time before they turn it into a tourist trap.
Yeah,
So
plant some trees on it.
Yeah, plant some olive trees on it. Yeah, good luck. It's stone. I mean, this is the crazy thing about this, right? If this was mud or something, you just look at it and go, oh yeah, this is like completely someone's been driving through. This is probably what half a Burning Man looked like that year it rained like 2 years ago.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
people exiting that. But the fact that this is in stone, and it's in stone that at least the geological order, the sort of standard model geological order for when this stone was laid down or when it was hardened, it's mostly volcanic tuff, is something like 13 to 14 million years ago. Is that's the range for when this stone was made. So you have to, there's lots of different explanations for these, but all of them have problems. There's no real good one that doesn't like really kind of bend your noodle one way or the other in terms of trying to figure it out. So they're very mysterious. And we found a local guy that knew where they were, so we got out and saw some of the really cool areas. There's Russ's iPods for scale.
Some scale, yeah.
To me,
because they're wide, right? They're
They're
much
like-
wider than what you'd think for a cart rut. They're nominally called cart ruts just because that is one of the explanations for them. And obviously these aren't just in Turkey. That's the other crazy thing about them, right? Famously, they're in Malta. People know about
and
them.
those are a lot
also in
thinner. The one in
Texas.
Malta.
And
Peru?
And Peru,
Also.
yeah. There's some in
And
Peru.
outside of Austin.
I was going to say
as well.
Texas.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Ben, what's your theory? Were aliens like off-roading? Like they'd wait,
You got
Wasn't
four
alien.
wheelers or something.
they'd wait
Could've been-
right
could've
after
been.
a volcano.
Millions.
Yeah,
Millions
right
of
after-
years
yeah.
ago.
and the lava
Yeah,
started
it's-
cooling, and they went out in their little alien quads and
there's this-
started floating.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? And there's some. I think those the Snake Bros have. There's some good drone shots, because Laura came out from the States. She could bring Russ's drone, and we couldn't. You can't have a drone in Egypt, so I didn't have mine with me. But we definitely got some good drone shots of these. I don't know. I mean, to me, it's. I don't think they were carved, right? So that's one of the explanations people say is, well, these are irrigation channels or something like that, which doesn't make any sense. And they're like deliberately carved. That's what some people have explained them as. It's like, okay, they're not irrigated. They go up and down, right? They go up and over hills. They flow down, and there's no consistent grade to them if they were water. And if they were like that, why is there like 10 of them next to each other?
Okay.
You don't need that many.
Stop right there, Garrett. So see where it swerves. I'm trying to figure out if that's the camera angle. So are there instances? I'm not saying it like people were driving around, but are these
That's what it looks like.
are these curves consistent?
So yes,
Like the two are consistent, like it's two
yes.
wheels. Okay.
Yes. So we also found singles, like
Okay.
much rarer,
Motorcycles.
but there was at least looks like a motorcycle. And then, but what's interesting is I didn't see this on them, but I'm not. This isn't to say that they don't exist. I don't actually know. Russ would be good to. He's done a bit more kind of research into them, but. If you think about how like a regular vehicle turn where your front wheel steers like you do off roading, the back wheels don't follow in the same tracks. Because they're not steering, they kind of swerve out a bit. So you'll often see when a vehicle turns like that and it's just using its front wheels, you get a different set of tracks through the turn from the back wheels, and that doesn't seem to be the case here. So it's either if this was indeed made by some sort of wheeled vehicle, then it seems like it was four-wheel steering. As in, your back wheels kind of are following the same curvature of the front wheels. The rut idea, I mean, so the way that they're explained, and this is the typical kind of standard model, is the idea that, these are formed from like people dragging carts from, let's say, a quarry.
Right.
And it's just, there is other, there's the Midas Monument, there's a few things out here. It's just, you're talking like hundreds of thousands of passes to get anything like this deep, and there's so much of it. There's just no evidence for that length of an amount of wear and tear from, say, a cart, a rutted vehicle. And you would also see, if that was the case, you'd probably see, say they're being pulled by animals, which would be the theory. You'd also then see rutted tracks from the animals. And you don't see any. There's no animal prints. There's no like rutted central track from like a beast that's pulling it. They're also much wider than your regular cart ruts. I mean, there are examples of cart ruts. Say Pompeii is a good example where the streets in Pompeii have these cart ruts, have these basically these ruts from carts, and they're much narrower because the cart wheels are narrow, and they sort of stay in that one train. I think you'd see that here as well. Like once it wears that, that central divot out, it becomes really hard for that wheel to pop out and then somehow make something that's like the width of a tire, like a modern car tire, which is about what they are. I don't think this is the result you get from just, say, even if you assume hundreds of thousands of passes with wagons and cart-rutted vehicles. And, of course, then they cross over each other like this. Like this is almost as if those ones running away from us here were there first, and then another set came through and carved over the top of them.
I mean, it looks like it was done when it was softer stone. Like that's just what it looks like.
That's what I think.
Baffling.
Yeah, agreed.
It's utterly baffling because it looks like effing tire tracks. Like you said, like if you go out to anywhere where there's off-roading, that's what it looks like.
That's what it looks like. 100%.
So I want to think about it being soft, but like you said, there's any tracks of animals pulling the carts or no footsteps.
Yeah.
So
And
if
when
it was soft, that would be
like
there.
And this is stone.
Millions of years ago.
Yeah,
right.
Like when it was soft was at least so you have to then, if you, okay, so it wasn't that long ago. It was, say it was ash or something like muddy ash from a volcanic eruption. That's you've got to change it, because there's been people do, the geology of this area has been studied. The standard model does have it at this, 13, 14 million years ago is when this was supposedly laid down. And it could well be, I mean, if it's that old, I mean, what the hell were these made? Like, with it just like dinosaurs running around on wheels?
Right.
I mean, well, that's still
Someone in chat
dinosaur
said
time frame,
fossilized mud. Now, if that's the case, what if
volcanic
our ability to calculate how old it is just so off, right? And you say it's volcanic tuff, so like, do we know that it's exactly that old, or like, could it be something that is the composition just is throwing us off?
I don't think it's actually been studied that closely,
Okay.
and that's one of the things that we were talking about, and I think would be great to have done on these. Is you say you just cut, like there's so many of these things, just cut a section out where you could even take little core drills out, but just say you cut a section out where you've got the walls and the bottom of a cart rut. So you could then look at, all right, is this material, is it compressed? Like, so you could see, is this the result of, say, erosion and wear over time, which would show like the composition of the material wouldn't be compressed because it was hard when it was, it was shaped like this. But if it was compressed, then it's okay. Then this was made when the material was softer, and then it was sort of compressed, and then it kind of gets preserved like a fossil would, or say a footprint.
Right.
Like this to me is like one of the, and you do find areas like some of these. What's really cool, well, one of the many things about these that is cool is you see how they disappear into the sand here.
Yeah.
So there's parts of these that are quite heavily eroded, and in some places you can see like there's barely any of the cart rut left. Yet in other places, they're really sharp and well-defined, like not very eroded. And I think what's happening here is that these were probably preserved in the same way that fossils get preserved, in that they get laid down and then, a flood happens or some sort of sediment comes over, buries it, it lithifies, it turns to stone or whatever happens. And then it's only in like many, many, many thousands of years later that geological processes just wipe away that top layer, and these things become revealed. So you can still see like some of these do run off and under other layers of stratigraphy, like material sand or whatever. And there are layers of limestone like this. You do see like in other areas around here, you see volcanic tuff layers, then you see limestone layers, and then you see more tuff on top. So you've basically got a volcanic activity that's laying down a layer. Then you have like a process of probably hundreds of thousands of years, if not more, of like floods that are putting down sedimentary layers that eventually turn into things like limestone, and then more volcanic layers on top of that. And so it's sort of a complex geology in this area, and but they do date that stuff, and I mean that's the time frame you're looking at for some of these layers of tuff. And then in these valleys, it's really really kind of weird because it's almost like there's a hub on a wheel that's scratching on the side of that material, and even further up, there's some deeper valleys where
That's
too.
crazy.
like
Both
higher up on the
sides.
walls, it's cut in, and so you just don't. It just intuitively you look at it and go, this is a wheeled vehicle.
It looks like a silhouette. Like I can imagine
And-
the shape.
And there hasn't been a serious study on these. That's
Not
That's
as far as I know, dude. It's
insane.
crazy,
Wild.
isn't it? Yeah.
Like you would think, as a geologist, there's probably not a lot of exciting things to study.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of cool stuff that you're looking into if you're into rocks. But like, I would be interested in stuff like this. Like, how do you explain this? Like, we were at Sacsayhuaman, across from the magic, you know, the awesome walls that you see.
Yeah.
There's that formation of these that looks like.
The Inca slides and the Inca
Yeah, it
thrones
looked
and all
like
that stuff.
Play-Doh was extruded out of the ground and then it hardened,
Yeah.
and it was like, what is this? And I was trying to look it up, and there was like nothing
that
about it.
blew
And I was
us
like,
away.
how-
We were like, how
Yeah,
come we
the-
never
the-
see the picture of the other side?
the
That's
other side.
amazing.
It's
I
an
tell
amazing
people that-
structure. Like,
Yeah, I tell people all the time, like the wall, the zigzag wall is like only a tiny portion of what's at Sacsayhuaman. It's amazing what's on there. I think even the older the Hunan Pacha monolithic stuff is super interesting because it's also the stuff that shows signs of cataclysm too. Like it's been through something, like stuff's ripped
Yes.
up and turned over, these huge stones. So yeah, I mean, I don't have a good explanation for that. I'd love to see. I mean, at Malta, the thing that blows my mind too is at Malta, like, you know, these go off under the bay. Like, you know, they go off the cliff and under the water, which literally wasn't. I mean, it's been underwater for 15,000 years, so it makes it tough to think. Well, yeah, this was a cart that was going back and forth from a quarry, but you know,
When
this got subsumed as a result of the melting at the end of the Pleistocene with the sea level rise. You know, so
Malta.
I remember a theory about moving stone that used circular like balls, and because there's a lot of these types of balls that are found around England and I think Europe as well.
yeah.
Now, like, what if these were actually created by using those when they were moving heavy stone, and it just ground in, you know, because these are deep, and it was bowed there.
They're deep. You'd have trouble start. I mean, I'm trying to imagine the process of trying to start that groove the first time you ran.
That's a
with
good
that.
point. Yeah,
Unless
yeah.
you did like carve a path first for them, maybe. I think you'd have more of a rounded, if it's really like a rolling, unless it's like a cylinder shape,
Yeah.
then you'd have more of a rounded profile. Like these things have pretty
Oh, this
square
wouldn't work here.
profiles in places.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
You know, there is. It's. I don't know. I mean, I'm not. I don't have an explanation for these.
All right. Yeah.
Um,
It's fascinating.
Yeah, but
Look at that.
It's kind of mind blowing to
I
think
gotta
about.
see
Like,
these. I gotta
all
see
of
these
the-
in IRL. I have to.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
Turkey.
what I say about them, right? Every potential explanation for these has like a part you can object to. Like it's all right. They were formed when they were soft. Well, now we're talking 13, 14 million years ago.
Right.
They're formed by carts. Well, that doesn't seem to make sense because you wouldn't get that profile from carts, and you know it would take hundreds of thousands of passes to do it. Well, they were irrigation channels. Well, that doesn't make sense because they flow uphill, downhill. I mean, it's just there's no good explanation, even within standard model, even the alternative models, whatever you want to call them. There's just no good, clean explanation for these. So I don't know. I
No, it's one of those
It's
things
really
you
cool
look
to
at,
see.
Ben, and it's like
Yeah.
what it looks like is too crazy to bring up, but that's what it effing looks like. They're insanely old. Nobody's studying these now. Like now that you know, listen, people have known about the cart ruts in Malta forever, but hearing about something in Austin, I didn't hear. And they're in India now. They're everywhere.
Peru.
What the hell are they?
Yeah.
You know,
Clearly, they're white supremacy. I mean, let's be real.
It's gotta be. That's why you can't look into them.
Whoa, hey!
To look into them.
so I
Don't
looked
ask
up
questions.
like I mean, just basic Google search, so it's obviously true. But I looked up what was the Earth like 13 million years ago during the late Miocene epoch. Hope I said that right. Earth was in a state of transition, with continents generally in their current positions, but the climate was warmer than today and experiencing a cooling trend. Sea levels were higher than present day, and there was less ice at the poles. The planet also saw significant changes in vegetation and animal life as it transitioned from the warmer conditions to the of the earlier Mesocene epochs. So,
And when was this? When
13
did
million
that?
years ago. So it was
13
roughly the
13
same, but a
million
little
years
warmer. But it was about to go into a cold spell.
Yeah, and higher and less ice, so higher sea levels.
Yep. Which
always begs
Interesting.
the question: what is the correct sea level? So,
well, I mean,
I think it's the Earth. It
I
breathes.
shouldn't go there. Yeah.
oh, maybe it was what we were getting into with climate change last week. That was it.
No,
Because we were
maybe
going
not.
off on that. But
That makes sense. Yeah, we did
Yeah.
talk
I was
about
gonna
the hockey
say,
stick.
the climate's always like this, and if it gets unlike this, then it's a disaster because it
Right.
never changed before, ever.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Trust the science. Trust the
And there
science.
goes the episode.
No, the Cartwrights are like that's why you get into this, but like even theorizing on it is just like all you can do is sit there and go, "That's really weird, man." Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody should
yeah.
look into that.
That's probably why they don't spend a whole lot of time looking into it, because it's like you end up going,
Oh,
man, I don't even know.
Well, an academic can't look into it because if they even start touching like a theory, they'd have to run
That's
it
a
by
good
15
point.
other dudes with peer-reviewed papers and have Flint Dibble
Pitchforks
on their
coming
ass.
at 'em.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they'd be losing tenure. I mean, look, I do think that the idea of longer timelines is the best explanation for the evidence. That I mean, I think that's pretty well known that that's what I think, but I do think it's the best explanation for like a lot of the evidence that we see, but I don't go that far back with it. I mean, is it possible? But I go back to maybe 1 million years because I think there's evidence for Homo sapiens, our species specifically, maybe getting into that close to 1 million year time frame, right? From a fossil or a fossil record perspective, we're like 320,000, whatever that jawbone in Morocco set us back to about 320,000 years.
Yep.
But then there's DNA and things like teeth morphology studies where they look at the rate of dental evolution for our common ancestors for us to get the teeth that we have. It's they did just big statistical studies on how long that takes, and they all, and same as the DNA studies, like when did we split with a common ancestor? 'Cause, like Neanderthals, they're our cousins, and we both split from a common ancestor. Both of those studies they sort of come out in that 800,000 to 900,000 year range as a possibility. So you could look at our species and go, all right, so maybe we somewhere around up to 1 million years or 800,000 to 900,000 years, and that's an interesting time frame because it gets back into other climatic periods. It's not just the glacial maximum. There's all sorts of warmer periods within that time frame. You could even extend that out, and another perspective I have on this is like, well, where the last humans left, we don't really know that much about the other types of humans that were around, but Neanderthals, Homo floresiensis, like Denisovans, Homo erectus, all of these, and the lady, all those sort of things, and like Neanderthals, bigger brains than us, they're stronger. I think they recently moved over to the perspective of like, well, they could communicate. They did have voice boxes. They might have had language. There's some evidence of tool use. There's certainly evidence of tool use and some sophistication that's turning up in some of that. So you could even potentially just put this idea of a civilization onto even including some of those guys, but it still doesn't go back 13 or 14 million. You can go back a couple million years, but not that far. So I don't know how the Cartwrights fit. It's just you basically at that point too. There's what other evidence would be left? Say you had a civilization that built structures and things that long ago. There's not going to be anything of it left unless it is in that sort of a situation where it's basically carved into stone, or it was set down in stone and then it was covered up and protected, and just with geological processes, and eventually becomes uncovered in the same way that we find footprints and other fossilized remnants of things. Everything else would be gone. Like there's just too long. So
Sheer luck that it's still around, and maybe it's the remnants of something. We have no freaking idea, but it's amazing that we keep finding this stuff. And we keep coming across this stuff, and 13 million years. That's like Michael Cremo territory. We're getting into it right there.
Yeah, and I mean, the possibilities. It's one of the reasons I'm open-minded to some of these ideas, just because I think across the distance of space and time, and I mean, we have existed for such a short amount of time, and and we've kind of shot up to this crazy level of technological sophistication in effectively a really short amount of time ourselves. You could almost say it's literally been maybe 300-400 years where we've gone from, you know, the whole mechanized society right up to this sort of electronic age through the industrial age. I mean, it hasn't taken us very long. So what's to say that process hasn't happened in the past as well? Many times. And you know, I think it's a little bit arrogant of us to assume that we're the only species that could have been capable of doing that type of a thing. Yeah. Or that there weren't other types of species as intelligent as us around before that. And then, you know, you open it up into that realm of like all of the, you know, I guess extraterrestrial presence and stuff. Because I do, one of the things I do think is that there's life on this planet may have had its origins in panspermia and being sent here through either DNA that's in a comet, you know, that's got liquid water that's being heated by radioactivity because it's got radioactive elements on. Like, there's all these possibilities around that. The space. We know that viruses and bacteria and things can live in space. The Russians keep wiping the outside of the space station and checking what they find, and it's like, well, it's full of actual organic compounds and things like that. So I don't go to the aliens thing. It's like a third rail for this topic. I mean, I'm constantly accused of saying, well, you must think it's the aliens that did everything. That's not what I say, but it's not. No. That's not to say that there isn't. That's not a very possible an element when it comes to just life in general. I mean, and look, personally, I just think it's a mathematical certainty that life exists in the universe.
Agreed.
I mean, they're close to finding. Yeah. They're close to saying that about Mars now, right? Sure. It seems like they're
very close.
Which is like, if they find it anywhere else, even in this solar system, then just forget about it. Like that
would be astronomical.
Everywhere.
As long as they don't find the proto molecule, we're good.
Yeah. Well,
but
actually, we had that discussion. The dark forest thing. We got
the dark forest.
The dark forest discussion. You guys probably talked about it, I'm sure, but the Space Brothers discussion. I'm like, we should not be doing the things we're doing.
No,
dark forest.
No.
Like,
sending out radio waves and sending out probes and stuff. Stop.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we're doing and we shouldn't.
Yeah,
blocking out the sun.
That too. Yeah.
Sounds like a good plan. Let's block out the sun.
Not really a good idea. No.
I was talking to Az earlier today about that. I'm like, you guys are usually under cloud cover.
About Az, he's losing weight.
Oh, blocking out the sun.
Wow.
That's no moon. Happy Star Wars Day.
That's good.
Oh my
god. So hey, you had all that fun in Turkey, and we're not going to get to go now. But
Chad, if you didn't know already, we're not going.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys aren't going? You guys were planning?
No,
you pulled an Egypt on the Turkey trip you were going on? All right.
No.
Yeah, this is a special Snow White movie.
This is like Snow White sequel coming out or something?
Snow White 2.
Yeah. It turned out to be a good idea with the Snow White thing. Just
I'm sure it was.
But I'm going to Egypt with you. Awesome. When you go next time. But yeah, we're not going to Turkey. We talked about it last week a little bit, but because of and Michael's talked about it, because of the controversy that they exposed out there. He didn't think it was a good idea to bring all the heat on us.
We were there when that happened.
How did that go?
Yeah.
It caused some issues.
It did, huh?
Really?
Well, not anything too bad. No. So I mean, to be fair, look. So I personally have very good contacts in Turkey, like in the government too, like in the tourism industry. So we still got to go, but they, how do I say this? They were big mad. Like the professor.
That's a good way of saying it.
And and I mean, honestly, I was like, you guys reacting to it is not. I mean, it's whatever it. But it's they were there was some consequences to that they're taking it out on the people visiting the sites at the time. That happened.
That sucks.
So I know they're closed. There was a couple of sites that were going to open up for tourism that they're now closing. They're not going to do that. There was a couple of sites, Saarburg and whatever, that they were going to open up during the dig season. So they have, the the way that works is mostly these, you know, the professors and the universities are the ones that are exploring these sites, and they're in school for whatever 8 months of the year, and then there's, you know, the dig season is kind of the 3 or 4 months outside of that, and that's when they're working on these sites. And they were going to open up a couple of these sites for tourism during that season, so you could come and see them work. And now he's like, no, we're not doing any of that. We're closing them. No one can visit the sites. We still got in and saw them, the sites. There wasn't anyone there. And then they were very twitchy at Karahan Tepe. They weren't even going to. We weren't sure if they were even going to let us take footage and videos at all. They were making those sort of noises, like no filming, no footage. But in the end, they were just like really like no footage of the holes that they've dug. You know, these holes that they've dug where they're going to the footing.
I was going to ask, were those holes still there?
Oh yeah. I mean, and actually, it was interesting. One of them, I mean, it's 25 foot deep. One of them's really deep, and it's on the side of the hill.
25 foot deep?
At least 25, 25 foot deep. Well, they're trying to get to the bedrock. So this is the thing. They're not like it's not like they're going to fill that up with concrete. Like they're trying to dig down to where they can get to bedrock, so then you can put your footing in, so it's attached to the bedrock, right? So once you get to the bedrock, that's
so they're just going through everything,
and it's 25.
Well, they dug it out. They dug it, and so that's
be.
what was interesting was like when looking at it, you're like, God damn, like the bedrock's way down there. Like that.
Yeah,
that's what I was surprised.
That's impressive. Like, 25 feet, huh?
So there's this is like midden or material.
Yep.
On the side of the hill at Karahan Tepe.
right?
And in other places, they haven't had to remove that much material to get down to the bedrock. It might have been 10 feet or 5 in some places. But on the side, it's like that bedrock like drops away or something because they had really dug a deep hole. And anyway, so yeah, we did have some people like Kyle was like trying to take footage of it. Then the security guard and Graham running down and made him delete it. And this normal sort of shit that happens on these sites. I mean, that's happened lots of times in lots of places. You just get used to it after a while, and you just try and get it, ignore them as much as possible. And then when they really get worked up about it, you're like, fine, delete the thing or act like you delete the thing.
Yeah,
I want to ruin
hit
it
the
for
button
next time you go there.
Yeah. I mean, you could go. It's just, I mean, they were just big. I can just say this. I mean, they were big mad. Like the guy that we work with there, who is connected to all of those people, he runs a tourism industry. He's just trying to grow tourism for the region. Who's talking to him? He was just telling me, they're all mad about it. And I'm like, I don't know. It's just my perspective on that is that they're reacting to it is fueling it. Put it that way.
Yeah.
You're right.
I mean, fix the problem and like don't make it's like reacting to stuff online.
Much.
You
But
just
I'll have that perspective with the online stuff too. So
so do I.
I think it's like be transparent about how they build these things. I think that's the problem for me is like they built this structure on top of a area that they know there's more to. So be transparent on how did you do surveys and make sure that you weren't affecting any of the layers under. Like just
maybe they did
show that.
I mean, there is
maybe they did. They're just not being as
GPR. It just depends on how far you want to dig through all of that.
Because I understand.
I agree. There's not enough. There's not enough of what happens in the academic world and the archaeological world that gets actually published. I mean, I've seen this in a lot of places, right? There's I mean, trust me, if I could name a few things that if people want to get outraged about what they're doing at, famous kind of archaeological sites, you should see what's happening at the Giza Plateau at the moment. It's insane. But they're cutting into bedrock, putting up walkways and stuff. It's insane. However, I mean, you can see stuff that happens on like Abu Sir, these places, good examples where they will find things and then they'll document them, and then they'll put a sheet of perspex up, and then they'll put bricks all over it. Like they'll literally cover it up again. They'll completely plaster over it, and the idea is you're preserving it. But technically you've documented it. And a similar case like at Göbekli Tepe, right? It's all been ground penetrating radar, and I'm sure when they dug the holes, if they find, it's documented. But it's like you might have to wait 10 years before that becomes public domain. That's what's sort of annoying, is that it's only really information that's available to a very select and small circle of academics. So it's like the guy who does it or whatever school or archaeological department that's running it, they're going to write a paper on it eventually, but they might, we got to wait 10 years till we get it perfect, till we get all the data we want, and it could be a lifetime almost before that data
We'll
comes
be an
out.
ancient civilization by the time they're done.
Yeah, it's a really slow process, and that's I think if anything else, like Jimmy and Mike, they're shining a light on, I think, the lack of transparency with a lot of this stuff. There's certainly some good questions being asked about all of that. But yeah, it's also, there's a lot of outrage being generated about it. That, I mean, I'm not sure I agree with all of it, to be honest.
It's like I understand why things take a long time like that. You're trying to study it and get it right when you write that paper, so you're waiting all that time. But at the same time, there's like excitement that you could be generating for the next generations, and being like, these are the things we're studying. I feel like there's a lack of that these days. There should be magazines, there should be websites, there should be YouTube channels that are just going like, this is the stuff we're studying right now. Like what you do. Like that's what's so great about it, is like nobody else is doing stuff.
There has to be a happy medium somewhere.
Yeah.
I would like to see that. I mean, so the problem, I mean, in my perspective, this is all very much my opinion, is the nature of that discourse has changed. So one of the problems, I think, and this has been shown by the what you would call them, the academic institutions. The problem, and they used to be very much more open to these ideas of we don't know, and embracing some of the mystery on these sites. And you can read that if you go back far enough and you read Petrie and you read other people, like some of the real Salim Hassan and these guys are like, wow, we're finding this stuff and who knows what we'll find next and what does it mean? We don't know. And
the mystery,
like the Assyrian, the mystery. Yeah. I mean, and that's because this discussion was, they were pretty much having that in their geographic club and at the universities and with their peers. They can write each other letters and talk about it in lecture halls and stuff. But once you started 50 years ago or so, you get the rise of popular alternative authors, like Chariots of the Gods comes out, and then Graham Hancock writes his books, and Boval gets involved. All these people come out, and that sphere of, I think, a different interpretation of the evidence starts to gain momentum in the public eye, and then new media comes out and YouTube happens, and now you've got a lot of perspectives that are coming out and getting it platformed and getting voices and becoming popular with the masses. And I think to some degree that's really influenced the way that the academic, the tenured academics that sort of see themselves as owning these spaces have reacted. They've become a lot more forceful in their response to that. So they become a lot more authoritarian in their responses, like, no, there's no mystery. Yes, we have the answers. Yes, we know what happened here. No, these other explanations don't make any sense. They're all a bunch of pyramidiots. They all think it was aliens. So you get this, and there's very, very rarely is there ever any, what I would think should be like a legitimate discussion between these perspectives, because at the end of the day, archaeology and it's very much it's like an arts. It's not real science, and this is like, they know this, right? It is an interpretation of a very loose and sparse set of evidence. You're stringing together a story and a narrative based on some pretty sparse evidence, and it's always complex, and it's a big picture, and it's always subject to evolving, new evidence and stuff that comes up, and I think that's one of the problems, is the reaction to, I think, this new model this new media has been really strong. We're lacking that in the middle kind of discussion, so it becomes adversarial and confrontational, and we see that with, remember when Michael Shermer first tried to debate Graham Hancock on the JRE, and then you get Flint Dibble and Graham Hancock, and you definitely have people like John Hoops, Flint Dibble that are on the, I guess, the academic or standard model side, that are trying, and you watch them, they're trying to figure out how to do new media, how to gain some of this popularity, and unfortunately they're embracing some of the, I think, the methods and the word, the
worst forms
the
of
messaging and the let's say the language.
They're lol cows.
Yeah.
That's what they become.
Flint is.
They're just reactionary
Civil,
to I mean, like, I don't know. What do I don't know shit about content creating, but like, and that really, I don't, I guess every day, but like, I just always fall back on being real. Like that's all you can be, is real. and
Yeah.
they're not. Like they're trying to like clout chase. It's kind of funny, and
Yeah.
they think they're so smart in doing it. It's like, bro,
It's cringe. It's cringy. Like
Yeah.
and a lot of Flint's like, it's a 1 year anniversary of the the Rogan show debate.
greatest
with Hancock
moment of
and
his
stuff.
life.
Yeah, he's just,
I mean, seriously, it was, but it's
I wore that jacket so well.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a bummer, but I mean,
But when if the academics and the experts would come together with guys like you, and like you have some that have lent out labs and
Yeah.
doing studies, like that
Yeah.
builds the conversation. That builds everything up. That doesn't destroy. I feel like what they're doing is destroying. It's hurting the conversation around all this stuff.
And look, it absolutely. I mean, this Graham Hancock's been the target of this for a long, long time. It's quite, it's destructive. It's they're calling him a white supremacist racist. Like these tech. I'm not a fan of any of it, of the vitriolic nature of these things. I would love to have the sort of honest and open and civil discussions around a lot of these topics. My problem with a lot of it is that just speaking for myself, most of my what I would consider to be the smoking gun evidence for this is really more in the engineering field, right? It's precision, it's logistics, it's machining, things like that, and typically. This is one of the reasons why I say there's been no point in me trying to say have a discussion with Flint Dibble about this, because we're going to talk past each other. He's not going to. I don't think he would make a real effort to understand the engineering perspectives on these things, and I don't care about his assertions about what was written on the walls, and that sort of explains all of it, because you just you get a stick with a radius on it, and you just do this together, and somehow it makes a perfect circle. Like it's just
you put a thing on another
pointless.
thing.
I
That's
know.
how you
Yeah.
do it.
I mean, if you read all the graffiti around, that's just
Well, and
the
it's-
story of
right.
the world, doesn't it?
It's honestly a bit
Or is it just something
disingenuous.
insane? Yeah.
This is with the vases in particular. Like it's literally a misinterpretation of what is actually been written down. And if there are lots of examples of this type of thing. But if they're misrepresenting what's the evidence actually says in that case, right? It's telling you that no, there was these scenes on the walls of them making vases is like it's actually explained in the museum where they found all these vases. That no, that's them creating essentially an industry of making replicas of these things from alabaster. And in a much more primitive fashion, because they had all of these amazing artifacts already, and they were trying to replicate them as best they could. And it took a genius of the time, this guy named Imhotep, to come up with that idea. But yeah, look, I don't know how it gets solved. I to some degree too. I also don't think we necessarily need the academics as much anymore. I feel like we're just a lot of ways we're doing an end run around it, right? We have physicists, and we have independent scientists and researchers that have expertise in lots of different domains that are coming together and looking at the evidence and doing their own work and research into it, which is revealing some really more and more remarkable aspects about the past. And I think it's getting more and more out of the control of
Experts.
the
former
tenured
experts.
who,
Right.
I heard a smooth brain take on this the other day from another one of these archaeologists who said that just because there's some engineer on YouTube shooting laser beams at a stone vase, don't dare for a second think that means he knows more than some guy who knows how to read hieroglyphics does about the vases. Like that's the explanation. It's like because this other guy can read hieroglyphics and he's an expert on the past, then therefore he can tell you more about the vases than
It's like
an
Dibble
engineering
knows
assessment
seeds.
can. Dick
Isn't that
bones
his
and
worth-
seed pathways in ancient Greece. I mean,
Mhm.
tell me
Yeah.
about vases.
Why would
Right.
you? It's ridiculous. Those vases are freaking. Those are a trip as well, and I love that you've gone down this rabbit hole because I've gone down with you. I watch all your vids on it. I've kind of missed that you haven't put out any content, but it's okay.
Well, the last one was a big vase one, and
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
Yeah, like
last
2
one was-
hours.
Yeah, it was like I wanted to do a wrap up. And there's even been more happened since then. So I am actually working on a little update to that. So yeah, I feel like the vases, to me, it's like they're so important. It is the smoking gun that connects this stuff together. It's the best
Exactly.
evidence that we have right now, and it connects to a lot of the other artifacts, not only in Egypt but in other parts of the world too, through precision, through machining, through the techniques that are used to make that stone. And it's and all of these objections that I hear come up against the project about either provenance or you can do it by hand, and there's nothing, and just cherry picking and all this sort of, we just each one of those little objections is just being knocked down and knocked down and knocked down. So all of them have been knocked down now. Like, multiple vases have been studied, including yes, there's precise ones, there's less precise ones. Vases with impeccable provenance have been studied now. The Petrie Museum, and now we're getting into the vase scan team. I use the term broadly, is getting into lots of other museums now as well. Certainly this year, you'll see a lot more of that happening. So there's all of then that research is kind of bearing out. It's knocking down all of these different objections to the vases, and even more data is coming out now. I think Max Zamilov, a friend of mine, he just went on Matt Bell's podcast on Limitless and did his show. But he's the guy that we went and did some electron microscopy with, looking at vase fragments, and found some really interesting stuff there. But he's also, he's a physicist, a nuclear physicist. He did the sort of first broad statistical analysis across a whole big range of vases. He also compared the handmade vases that everyone like Flint Dibble point to and say, see, you can do it. And these Olga Vodovina who made these handmade vases, they're just as good as the ancient ones. And no, not even remotely close or true. Like they're exactly what you would expect being made by hand. Pretty terrible about what you'd expect if you're trying to work in diorite by hand. He also has recently done like a nuclear isotope study on them, which is one of the most interesting, I think, new kind of discoveries that's been made about them. So he looked at, this is very preliminary because he's only studied because it takes like a couple days. You need a giant machine, a big old lead shield and stuff to kind of do this analysis for each piece. But he's studied like 2 or 3 of the precision vases and then some other non-precision vases. And he's also studied like base rock samples, and he's found that the precision vases have something like 2.5 to 3 times as much like radioactivity as both the base rock samples and the non-precision vases, like in thorium-232 and then something else as well, which is really interesting. Like so it's more radioactive than the base rock, and the non-precision vases that are also supposedly, in the standard model, they're all from the same place, same time. They don't have this radioactivity, but the precision ancient vases do. It's like, what does that mean? So it's like, it leads into these hypotheses around potential like nuclear machining. So he has this whole paper that he's written about possibly them being one of the ways that they could have been made is through a technique of nuclear machining, which is something that we are very slowly starting to develop in our own technological capability in our modern society. I think another potential explanation for this is that they were components used in potentially some machine that produced it, that it could have given it this radioactivity as part of whatever the function was for those things. Because I do contend that they were functional. I don't think they were always just vases. But yeah, super interesting. If you go to it's maximus.energy is his website. And we talked about it in the last podcast I did in Egypt, actually. And this nuclear machining hypothesis is really interesting, particularly when you line it up with some of the other stories from the past, like the shamir. Have you guys talked about the shamir?
Mm-hmm. We've talked about it before,
like these worms, these like little lightsaber worms. Yeah, it's
and
like you can. Yeah, and it just eats through the stone, turns it to dust. It's like,
I love the idea. What was it, King Solomon or something?
Yeah, Solomon's temple supposedly used
right.
Like a palladium coated lightsaber, essentially. Just cutting through the stone. Like.
Question: what do you think? You said they
surprising.
There's a function for these. What do you think the function would be? Like a container?
No, I don't. So I think
Lotus eaters
functional. I don't. Yeah, loads. I don't. They were definitely used as vases, right? So no doubt. But there's some like the size of your thumbnail, and other ones that are really large. I'm not sure that was their function. A lot of them you can't even stand up. Like they have a pointed tip, and they need to they're either set upside down, or they need a stand. I see a lot of the lug handles on them. To me, look like they could have been used as potentially cam locks. So you put it in, you rotate it, and it's like a cam lock.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They maybe resonators or something like this. It's the spec. It just, I don't think you make them this precisely without some
It's like
sort
an
of
oil
functional
filter?
perspective. I don't know. Think they're filtering anything.
You put the oil filter inside of that.
Well, I wasn't joking
Yeah,
when I said
maybe.
Lotus Eaters. On Luke Caverns was over on
yeah.
Limitless, and he was talking. They had a long discussion about the Egyptian obsession with the Blue Lotus, and which is extinct now. I actually didn't know that.
It
But
is.
they, yeah,
think it is.
yeah, the one that they consumed,
Oh, okay.
the one with like the psychedelics in it, went extinct. Or according to Luke, that's what he was saying.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But he was saying that the people that, like
I know
the
there are
rich
people still
people,
smoking it.
wanted to, well, there is a flower, like a lotus, but the one that I don't
specific
remember the
strain they use.
details.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, but he was saying that the rich people of Egypt would want to keep their lotus drink in like a fancy vase. So he was, maybe saying like, those really nice ones were actually for the rich elites, the lotus eaters of the
that's
Maybe
day.
they found them and used it like that.
That's what
Could
they
be
say.
also true. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
true.
mean, that's the standard model explanation for them. They just say, well, they're perfumes and ointments is what they will
Right.
tell you, like for rich people. And then they try to, like, they were very expensive. So explains like the pottery imitations was like, oh no. So the poor people could just get, I mean, this is just assertions that have no evidence behind them, but this is how they use it. This is a common technique. In I guess the academic world is that these pottery vessels that are shaped like it, and then they're painted to look like the granite, or they have swirls that are meant to imitate the breccia. This can just magically supply the same benefits in the afterlife to the people who have those. You don't need the hard stone ones. I mean, they start invoking magic, and I'm like, okay, I'm probably out. But
Yeah. Still doesn't show
that's
how
what they
they
say.
made them, though.
Yeah.
No, and this is
Which is the
always
important
been
part.
the problem, is that
Yep.
typically the archaeologists and Egyptologists are less. It's not their fault. They're not engineers. They're just not interested in how these things were made. They're more interested in what was in them, what was written on them. How were they used? What's the daily life like for the Egyptian that had them?
That feels so weird to not be fascinated with how they made such incredible pots, and vases. Like,
You would
How
want to
could you
know
not
about
be
the
interested?
craftsmen then. If you're really worried about the people, how they used them, wouldn't you want to know the craftsmen and how they developed the craft of making
well,
these
it's part of
and
the
that
people.
whole
It's the
thing?
society
Yeah.
that they lived in, the technology that they were able to achieve
See,
to
that's-
create such precision.
There's just no evidence
Seems
for
lazy.
it. And that's the problem. Is
Right.
that there is just no.
There's nothing.
This is that whole tale of two industries thing that I have, right? There is there are scenes on the walls, and there are depictions, there are tools that we found that explain the low tech version of
Right.
things. So across all these
Yeah.
categories of artifacts and architecture, columns, vases, statues, slabs,
Pyramids.
buildings, pyramids,
Walls.
right?
Yeah.
There's you can very clear and obvious distinction once you see it between what's very sort of call it high tech, whatever, precise, massive version of them, and then a much less precise, like rough, obviously handmade versions of the
Wannabe.
same things that supposedly existed at exactly the same time. And we have an entire set of evidence. We have scenes on the walls, we have accounts, we have tools, and all of these match this one category of these artifacts, the low tech, the handmade stuff, right? This exists for all of these categories.
Yeah.
and
The Timu of this stuff.
right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
We have ancient vases at home.
Yeah, and that's the problem with it is, it's once if you start investigating, you even admit that there is sophistication in these artifacts, then
It opens the door.
It opens the door, and this is the same reason that I always found it astounding that even after 150 years of trying, that the academic the standard model, the people writing the textbooks in university will not admit that there is a spiral groove on Petrie's core number 7. Like,
That's crazy.
it's literally been proven, like geometrically shown. It's
Yeah.
proven. Like there's endless drill holes out there that you could go and measure in the same way that you measured, put a latex mold in there and pull it out and measure it. Or there's other cores you could measure it, but it's like why can't they admit this? What seems to be a really simple thing? It's because of the implications of that thing. It opens the door, and it's like the first domino that sort of knocks down this whole idea that everything is possible or just was done with these primitive methods and primitive tools. And I think there's a tacit acknowledgement of that. Like there's a strong desire never to admit some of these things. Like this is why Flint's, he goes out and talks about, how hard is it to make a circle, right? You just need to stick with another radius on it, and you spin it like that, and it makes a perfect circle. It's just complete nonsense. Not to mention it's ignoring all the other aspects of precision, right? The circularity of them is only one dimension of the precision that we find on them. There are many more. You don't
like
ever see them.
The faces of the statue,
Yeah,
like, how do you do that with spinning a thing, Dibble?
Yeah,
No.
3-dimensional symmetry, the logistics challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, they never. One of the good examples that I never see anyone even try to address is things like the consistency and wall thickness or wall thinness of some of these vases, right? You're talking about granite and diorite that's so thin it's translucent. It's like 2 millimeters thick. I mean, what's that? That's it's like a 1/15 of an inch, and Petrie documented them down to as small as a 1/40 of an inch thick, like tiny.
Wow.
And incredibly you and it's also consistent. Like we've measured this on several vases where it can be both thin and consistent. Even the ones that are even not as thin as that, they're within 1,000th of an inch consistency of wall thickness all around at all different points around that vase. So it's like, it's literally that consistent on the inside, the carving of the inside and the outside of this thing, that it's within 1,000th of an inch anywhere you measure it, at that height of the vase. That's insane precision.
That's crazy precision.
Not achievable today unless we use some of our best machines to do that type of thing. And those are, these are topics that are very rarely addressed. I understand they're fairly complex. It's one of the reasons that you see. I mean, you look at the comments in my bit, like machinists and engineers and tool makers and people that work in those worlds. They get it immediately, but it's not something that you find a lot of Egyptologists or academics either talking about or admitting. They just poo-poo it and say it's just some dude shooting lasers at a vase on YouTube, or it's how hard is it to make a circle? It's
pretty fucking hard.
It's very hard to be consistent.
Pretty fucking hard.
You just put things together and you're rubbing.
And just to reset for those of you who might not know, like I don't know about all the vases, but some of the vases are pre-dynastic. They were found found in graves. And I think at least on one, when I was talking to you about it, your theory was that because the person it was buried with didn't have anything like quite like that, and it might have been something that was an heirloom that was passed down, possibly.
Yeah. So this is the other part of this. This is why the vases are such smoking guns to me, and this probably this is a good reset to sort of why these important. Like, why is this important? So, for one thing, we've done this. Nobody's done as much investigation or detailed metrics and study into the manufacturing of them as has happened with the vases. It's because we can get our hands on them and we can scan them. They're small enough that you can do that. And they're turning out to be quite remarkable, like precision and all this other stuff. There's many other aspects of it, right? The mathematical design and all these other things. However, the other part that makes this super interesting and important is that these are really old. They come from the very oldest periods of time. And this is not a controversial statement. Like this is acknowledged by Egyptologists. They will tell you that these, and in fact, you can go to any pre-dynastic, like before the first dynasty, so prior to 3000 BC or 3150 or whatever, before the first dynasty of the ancient Egyptian civilization, and you'll find these hardstone vases in museums because they've been found in burials that are associated to periods before, and they're carbon dated to periods before the ancient Egyptian civilization started. Now, lots of them are attributed to the Egyptian civilization, but they're mostly all attributed to the first and second dynasties. It's called the Archaic Age. And this is supposedly before any of the other major stone. This is one of it's a weird thing that antique dealers and some of the people have to explain away. Is like, well, it seems like they were putting all their effort into making vases because there's not really any other statuary or architecture or stonework that's happening in those
They were
first
just
two
bored.
dynasties. They were bored.
They
so
were
they're
bored,
just making vases. And they say, all these types of stones were used, but most of them, they were all created in the first and second dynasty. And we know this because there's some really poorly scratched hieroglyphs on some of them that have the names of these kings from the first and second dynasty. By the way,
This is mine now.
yeah, exactly. So it's got this, and again, it's the same problem that I have with like dating the Serapeum boxes by the graffiti that's on it. Is that obviously
I made this cup. I
Yeah,
made
'cause
this
your
cup
face is
because
on
my
it.
logo is on there. So
Exactly.
I made
Yep.
the whole
Yeah.
thing. I developed the technology.
You did.
It was me.
Yeah, but I mean that's a nicely printed version of your face. We're talking about the equivalent of you scribbling on that thing with crayon and saying that it's
Yeah.
Right.
like my Garrett. And it's just
Yes,
like,
this is
and
mine.
then, therefore, it's yours. So you see the same thing in the vases, right? Even though we know that they existed, I think is what you can say, that these kings of the first and second dynasty had them, and they scratched their name onto them. And then we also know that they were inherited and heirlooms because we found these first and second dynasty vases in the possession of a third dynasty pharaoh. In fact, the last pharaoh of the third dynasty, Djoser, underneath his step pyramids, where they found the majority of them. They had to admit that, lots of these are, inherited heirlooms because they've got the names and they're identified. They've got these markings of these older pharaohs, which just tells you what Djoser did, right? He said, "I'm the king. Go out, rob all these tombs. I want all of them. Bring them to me." And hence we find when Jean-Philippe Loyer excavates at the Step Pyramid, not the first guy to do that by any shot, by the way, but he found like 50,000 of them down there. And who knows how many
Is
were
that
pulled
all?
out before that. Yeah.
That was 50,000 bored pre-dynastic Egyptians.
So what's
It's been great back then.
Yeah, and the crazy thing here is that you have this, whether it doesn't matter where you attribute them to, right? So if you're talking Old Kingdom, Archaic Age, or pre-dynastic, you have the same set of challenges in terms of how they're manufactured. In all of these cases, it's like they're out-of-place artifacts. When you compare them to the context in which they were found and what else we found in those burials. So, you go back to pre-dynastic times where they have found these vases. And in some cases, this is something we're going to get to the bottom of this year, getting out to Boston and looking at the university there, because these are the guys who did the excavations of a lot of these pre-dynastic sites. Some cases, these can go back as far as 14,000 years ago. They're all sites that are underwater now, and they were excavated, between 1901 and 1930, 40 time frame. After which this area
Named
was
the dam.
flooded, right, and Lake Nasser was created.
So 14,000 years ago.
14,500 years ago. So,
That's insane.
Yeah.
And they were
Yeah.
easy
Wow.
back then because there's 50,000 of them in one location.
Garrett,
well, so
Garrett,
Right.
forget. It was also the first time they did it. Like there was no build up to
yes.
it. They just sat down and did it perfect the first time.
and look, it's this. I use that example. Toshka's the name of the place as an outlier. Like it's as an example of how far back. But it doesn't matter because it's not controversial. That Toshka's controversial. There's all you have is images to go on, like photographs. Clearly, clearly there are. I get into this in my work. Obviously, there are stone vessels in those burials. There is very little other information about those excavations other than them talking about that there were wares. Like they write down wares, but that could be ceramic pottery ware. It could be stoneware. We don't really know. However, we've been in touch with the museum that has that, and Boston is attached to the Boston University and Harvard and stuff. And they've got stuff sitting on shelves that hasn't been touched in like 70 years.
Oh,
So we're going to go, and we've got an appointment to go and look at
That's
it
awesome.
and get to the bottom of it. So whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. My point is that it's not controversial at all to say that they're pre-dynastic. They are.
Yep.
This isn't strange. And then you just have that same set of problems. They're found next to beads and bones and fishbone combs and super primitive burials like fetal position, shallow graves. Like there's no indication whatsoever that these people could do any other stonework or any other masonry work like this. A very primitive handmade pottery, not even made on a wheel. And that, by the way, that persists down into the same problem occurs down into that early part of the Old Kingdom. So it's like you're still faced with this problem. I don't think that it was these people either that made them. I think you're still looking at, even in pre-dynastic times, these people inherited them, they found them, they used them. Look, if you're a primitive culture that is in the business of making really primitive pottery to hold water or whatever, you're using stone tools. Like one thing we can find, and we found this all over Turkey, all over Egypt, like stone tools, right? So they're familiar with stone. They're chipping and they're making flint tools. They're using stone to carve into wood and to shape other materials. If you find one of these things made from granite or diorite, you will immediately recognize its value, right? I mean, you're familiar with stone. You're familiar with these stone types. You look at it and go, holy shit, how did you do that? Like, how did this must have come from the gods or the ant, whatever, right?
Yeah.
It becomes valuable immediately. Plus, it's also pretty functional, and you can put water in it and hold it. So it's not like this is just, you don't know what it is. You have no context for it. You understand its value. You can see it. And I think they become valuable. They filter through whatever society was around at that time to the chieftain, to the warlord, to the king. They end up with him. He gets buried with them. And that's where we find them today. Or, Joseph digs up the burial 3,000 years ago, and then he takes them with him, and then eventually we dig it up over there. It's not a stretch to assume that these were inherited, even in these.
It's like archaeological hot potato or something.
Yeah, it's like I make the example all the time, like Matt Bell. Imagine, like, touch wood, never happens, but Matt Bell passes away. He says, I want to be buried with my treasures. And of course, he's got this fantastic collection of vases.
Right.
He builds himself a mausoleum, buried with his vases. And then our
1,000 years go
civilization
by.
ends, a couple thousand years go by. Some guy digs them up and goes, man, this guy Matt really made some really awesome vases. Like,
Man,
Yeah.
that's been a
It's the
powerful
same
man.
thing.
This
Yeah.
Matt Bell.
Yeah.
So that's
He's
why
limitless. Sorry.
So you have these challenges. This is cool. Like this is to me the smoking gun part of this is these vases connect to the other artifacts through things like machining marks. So one of the things that's involved in the vases is like 100% tubular drills, right? So those tube drills, you see those in the vases. You see the remnants of them on the insides. You see that where they've been caught out and snapped off. You also find those in the pyramids. You find them on architecture. You find them on these megalithic sites. You see precision's another element of this. You see tool marks and other forms of machining that are also shared by statues and obelisks, and these ancient granite sites that are the same stone types. So I think it's like statues and stuff like that. These other artifacts that display precision and machining, you can't be buried with them, right? So if you've got like a 200-ton statue, that's really hard to take with you and bury, but you can take a vase with you and bury it. So the statue stays on the site. Even if you might say, well, the statue might have existed 5,000 or 6,000 years ago, but you get to the New Kingdom and you get Ramses II and Merenptah and Seti I and these guys that are like, I'm big and powerful, I'm the king, I'm a god, put my name on that damn thing, and they get their name carved on it, and then we look at it and go, well, it's got his name on it, therefore he must have had it made. And that's the primary method used to date a lot of this stuff. And I think these vases give us a connection and a different possibility, and for a longer timeline for a lot of these sites, for a lot of these artifacts.
It makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Certainly.
It is. Well, what would be, because I've only seen one site or a few sites in one country live, like in real life. And I guess the closest I would come to seeing something that looked to me like it was engineered. It was cut. It wasn't cut with this fucking anything other than some type of machinery was inside that church, Garrett, in Peru and Cusco. And the walls they have there, those are fucking
Coricancha.
insane.
Yeah.
Coricancha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Those are insane. Like that's a next level, even to Saxe Woman. They were so.
It looked like a clear upgrade to Sacsayhuaman. It was like all the techniques of Sacsayhuaman, but like refined. So I don't know if it was older or younger or what, but like it was more refined there.
It's sex. I mean, the Coricancha is amazing. It's the closest thing to Egypt, like in terms of it's linear, right? And if you go on the outside of the walls of the Coricancha are. Did you go in the alley on the outside and it looks linear, but you look down at it, it waves. It still has the wafty waving, which is even more difficult. It's insane. But
Yeah.
the inside of the Coracancha is super linear, and trapezoidal. You have the same
Yeah.
shapes as Egypt.
Very precise.
You see again. This is where you see examples of what look like to be tube drill holes and the crazy shapes. It looks like circuit board layouts with the inside of the blocks where they had those insets in the.
It looks futuristic. It doesn't look like it's Stone Age. It's
Right.
like that looks
Yeah.
something I'd see 1,000 years from now. Like it would. I mean, it's going to last that long.
Yeah.
It made it through an earthquake pretty well. Little parts
Yeah.
jumped out, but like fucking insane. Like
It really is.
And like some of the top of it would be rough. We got to because you get to walk on a balcony. There's the balcony right there. We've got to see.
Oh yeah.
But man, this one just blew my effing mind when I was walking. I was like, oh, thank God the Spanish. Well, they probably couldn't. Then fuck this up. But
They tried.
Right.
yeah.
You see,
that's right.
There's that one part of one of my favorite parts to show people is where they did try. The Spanish did like destroy a wall. They thought there was gold in it or something. But what they did by busting it apart was they showed you just how clean the joinery was. You can actually follow the line, the mating surfaces between the blocks all the way through the depth of the stone, which is 3 feet deep. And then if you actually, it's the part where you have those little plastic fucking glass things in front of the corner.
Yeah.
But you can see like there's one block that's going around like 4 corners. It's like this massive, like shaped one single piece, but it's also joined with its neighbors with this crazy like precision you don't see really a lot of other places other than other megalithic sites like in Egypt. The Coracancha was definitely, it was connected to Sacsayhuaman. Like that was the, it's, there's the Chicana, the entrance. If you go out to the balcony, there's a grated off doorway, and that's like the entrance to the labyrinth and all of the underground tunnels. And this is what they recently confirmed. Everyone knew they were there already, but they finally confirmed it with ground penetrating radar. That connects this to Sacsayhuaman up at the top of the mountain. But it used to flow, like Sacsayhuaman used to flow down the whole hill around the backside of it and then run all the way through that old part of megalithic Cusco and then to the Coracancha. So it was all part of the one.
Yeah, it's a trip
thing.
how like close it is together, and you could actually just walk there.
Cusco's like it's there's nothing like it on the planet.
Dude, it's amazing.
It's a megalithic city. Like it could be the oldest city that's still standing. Like and people are still living in it. I believe this about it. Like nowhere else in the world do you have like megalithic Inca, colonial Spanish, and then modern layers built up on top of each other, and you can walk down the street and see all of them
And see them
and just imagine how long people still touch it and imagine
on
how
your way
long
to the
people,
Starbucks.
Right, yeah, the Starbucks that's right here, or KFC. There's a KFC right in the middle of Cusco. Is awesome.
Yep. Well,
And the
Pizza
Irish
Hut
pub.
the Irish pub. Yeah, well, there's a Pizza Hut that looks right at the Sphinx too.
Yes.
Is there?
Yeah. And there's a McDonald's. You've been to Rome? There's a McDonald's that's looking right at the Pantheon. Like
No.
on the other side of the square.
Golden
Oh, yeah.
arches.
God, it's yep. That's
weird.
our gift to the culture of the world.
And in 1,000 years, that'll all go away, and it'll still be the same.
It'll be the same
structures.
rock standing there. Yeah. I mean, in Cusco, I think that the street levels have changed. Like the height of things have definitely dipped and changed. But
When we were there were our tour guide was saying, well, they just found a bunch of new tunnels. So, and she said like, any digging here, any kind of like anything they have to do, like to get to drainage or anything, they're always finding something archaeological. Like
I feel like
makes sense.
I feel like I have those pictures. I've have pictures of them digging up underneath Cusco. Let's see. Oh yeah, here we go. I can share this.
and the dogs are nice. All the dogs.
dogs.
The dogs were so cool.
Yeah.
None
I
of
thought
them.
they were all strays, but they seem to all have owners somewhere.
I think the city was their owner. Like they were fed and taken care of, and they would just go from house to house. Like it's a cool vibe.
Let's see entire screen. Here we go. I'll just show you this. Can you see that? You need permission?
Yeah, we got it.
All right.
Yeah,
so this is like they're digging up. This is the street level, right? This is I think Plaza de Armas up here, and then so they're just digging up. You can see the stairs and all the buildings and blocks going down, and like these are the sewer pipes that they put in. Yeah, same thing. Like when they dig up the street, like there's just layers of this shit. beneath the
Jesus
ground here.
Christ.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
They were not kidding.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
like this is same area, right? So it's insane.
And even that stonework is amazingly precise.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's
Yep.
megalithic. Yeah, for sure.
And just got a poop pipe on it.
Yeah, they literally
lay
cut
it right
through
here.
Yeah, they
No.
they cut through the blocks to lay the septic and things down there. So I mean, they had to, the story, like people have been lost and I mean, there's a couple kids died, right? In the Chicanas. Yeah, they had to like seal up all the entrances, stop people trying to get in there to explore all the tunnels and things beneath that city. It's vastly ancient.
And it's amazing. I can't wait to go back.
Yeah,
I
Loved
we
it there.
Yeah, we kept trying to like, let us in there, like it's fine. Like we'll bring
be
a bunch of
cool.
string. I want to get in there and take a look.
We
Yeah.
got breadcrumbs, just let it out.
Breadcrumbs, whatever.
I think some of our group went, I mean, not down in Cusco, but like near the Temple of the Moon. Was
Uh-huh.
it? They went
There's
through some
tunnels.
caves there, through some
Yep.
tunnels.
Yeah, if
Temple
you
of
can
the
get
Moon's
into
a trip. I like
it
that.
is. Did you guys get inside it? They let you in, or did you not?
Some of
Because
us
they normally
did,
don't let
yes.
people in
I
there.
did not,
Some of us
but
did,
some did.
Yeah.
Some did get in and get some video.
Yeah,
I
I've
poked
been
my
in there.
head in there. I did, but
We just Santa Hancock actually was the one who she just like fearlessly she jumped the barriers and ignored all the whistles, and then the whole group came with her, and eventually they just go, oh, whatever, go in there. Then she's just taught me some lessons about rope barriers and
Yep.
these pretend barriers, and you just the weight
They're
of
just a
numbers eventually.
guide.
They give up eventually. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a guideline. It's
Always
not really a rule. You
ask
know?
for forgiveness rather than
More like
Yes.
guidelines.
Yeah.
Yes. I got sorry, I got to tell the story again, guys, but I got to meet her. I didn't get to meet Graham, but I got to meet her, and it was really it was surreal talking to her about Doctor Who and how crappy it was. I was like, I'm talking to
yeah,
Graham
it's so
Hancock's
bad.
wife.
I love Santa. I've
It's
known her
cool.
for a long time. Her and my wife got along really well too. We spent a bunch of time in Bolivia running around the witches market with her for a day in La Paz. It was a fun memory. I sat next to her also at that conference, the when I went and saw Graham talk, the New Living Expo. I sat next to her during his talk a few years back. So
Dude, he's a machine. He did that 2-day conference in Sedona, and he went all day, both days. And then when it was done at 9:00 one night, he stayed an hour and a half to meet everybody. And he met everybody and signed their book and shook their hand. And then on his last night, after doing another 9 hours, he hung out for 2 hours and just
yeah,
said hi to everybody.
Legend.
yeah,
Legendary.
He's amazing.
A real one. Like, he's a cool dude.
He is. Yeah, he's amazing. He's given me a lot of advice over the years. I'm really grateful for the attention that he's given me. It was funny. Last time I saw him at CPAC, I kind of apologized to him because I've known him for a long time. I traveled with him back in Peru and Bolivia, like 2013. It was the first time I met him. But for a few years after that, I would, I'm very enthusiastic about it, and I'd kind of send him pretty long emails occasionally, and he'd always respond. And I
Oh,
was
that's
just like,
nice.
yeah, but then I started doing this, and and I'm like, I can imagine it's only a fraction of the type of emails of the quality and the quantity of them that he might receive. But I do get these long emails from people from time to time. You're like, I've got to read this, and there's just a moment where you're like, damn it, this is super long. So I had this. I said, I'm like, listen, Graham, I just want to apologize for having sent you some long ass emails in the past because he's like, oh no, he's super gracious about it, but. I'm like, for sure you saw it and you're like, oh shit.
You see it.
He's
and-
emailed
and-
me this long fucking thing.
Yeah,
again.
Jesus. Yeah, the best thing you could do is like, okay, I'm going to set some time aside to give. I mean, because the person took the time to do it. And dude, when you
Yeah,
get
I
the
do,
handwritten
yeah.
one, when you get the handwritten ones,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, I'm reading. That's my night time reading.
Yeah.
Because somebody like
Yep.
takes the time to do it. That's.
I've
I
had some
mean, it's great.
Funny handwritten one. I had this really
Oh,
angry
yeah.
old
Eh.
German mathematician write me this letter and then sent me all these materials. Like it's literally like hands and like this fold out, like stuck together piece of paper that I was supposed to take to Egypt and measured like the king's chamber with because some theory he had. He had these long, I'm like, bro, I'm not sorry. I'm not taking this.
No.
These props to the king's chamber for you. He's like, you must do this. I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm doing it.
You could come on my tour and do it yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
How's that sound?
Yep.
But yeah, like, oh man,
Yeah.
freaking content creation. It keeps me from going on these cool trips.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yep.
yeah,
What's the next one you're going to go on?
yeah. What's your next
Me?
one?
You just got back.
Just got back.
Yeah,
so
when are you
I'm-
leaving again?
Well, in next weekend, I'm going to be actually at that same conference I saw Graham speak at a few years ago. I am speaking at this coming weekend. It is the New Living Expo in the Bay Area. And then after that, June's the Cosmic Summit, I think June 20th.
Yes.
We'll be doing the Cosmic Summit over there in Greensboro, which I'm looking forward to.
Yes.
A week after that, we've got a Vase event in Manhattan. So we're doing a specific, like an evening at the Explorers Club. So Adam is a member of the Explorers Club. He's the OG Vase owner. And we're going to just have a Vase evening talking about Carolee, me, Snake Bros, Adam Young, and then we're also going to the Met. So we're going to go. Yusuf, hopefully if he gets his visa and he can make it, he'll be there as well. But we're going to do like a museum visit and then just an evening talking about that stuff. But then my next real trip is like Peru. I got Peru in October and November. I haven't put this out yet because, to be honest,
I'm noting this down.
Yeah, well, we went down to Russ and I and another friend went down there in January to kind of scope it out because I hadn't been down there in a little while, and the guys, I'd known a guy down there, Rogelio. He's amazing. He's like a Peruvian Yusuf, really nice guy. But I hadn't worked with him for a long time, or ever on my own tour. I'd been on tours that he had been guiding on, but I wanted to set it up with him, so I went down and talked to him. But yeah, we're going to do that in October and November. I put it out for like patrons and supporters, and it's sold out in like 15 hours. It was insane.
Wow.
And so and then there was a wait list. So we were like, well, we'll do another one. We're going to do a second one in November. So that one I will shortly release out for people to register because then patrons bought up half of those tickets. So there's still some spots left on that one, but that's going to be the next trip. I'm really looking forward to it. We've got I think a pretty cool itinerary. We go into some places that people don't often get to, things like the quarry at Ollanta Tambo, which is like a whole day experience. It's a hike. Mm-hmm. We're gonna also do Huayna Picchu, which is the climb behind Machu Picchu, like the mountain behind it.
Cool.
So
X-Ray Girl did that.
Yeah,
You
You did Huayna Picchu?
I don't remember,
You
but
went
it
to,
was
what was
think-
that? It's the peak that's right above.
And maybe
on
it's
the
not
left
behind
side.
it. It's the one above it. Yeah, that you can look down.
It's like
on
a
Machu.
separate ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah, we
steeper.
didn't do that.
It's
I didn't
deeper.
do that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like super. It's like a mall, but it's like straight up, and it's
Okay.
It's
I think
that
I would
iconic.
remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah. I would
you-
try that if I'm not sick that day. Because
Yeah.
Bro, I was just
How did you
tired.
deal
I
with
was
the-
like, nah.
How
Bro.
was the altitude knocking you around? Is that the problem? Altitude
Oh my
food.
God.
needed a little
It
water,
was
drank some water.
horrible.
Shouldn't have done that. And
Oh, yeah. Don't drink the water.
had a rough day at Machu Picchu, but I made it. Then the next day was not good.
Everybody there, you guys, you were all like, it's fine. Melissa was like, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And I was like, no, I'm drinking out of water bottles. That's it.
Oh
We
yeah,
all got
don't drink the
sick.
water.
Oh, I
Don't
mean,
drink the water.
the filtered water is fine.
I
That
did
was
it
the only other
accidentally.
water I did.
Okay, I was like just brushing my teeth, and I went
Yeah, yeah.
like I always
no.
do
Oh.
from the fountain, and like whoops.
Yeah, I
Oh,
I
Gotcha.
sometimes bring a water filter to pump
Yeah.
water, but I mean, I don't know. It's just you just get used to drinking out of the plastic bottles, I guess. That's
I have a
sad,
life
but it's
straw.
the reality. Life straw works. Yeah, all that stuff works. I have I used to bring a big.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just have so much shit when I travel now because we dive. We do diving too, you know, and it's like.
You dive? That's
Oh,
so
cool.
Oh yeah,
Alright.
so we were diving like in Egypt. That's we've been doing it for a few years now. After the Egypt tour, we go to the Red Sea, like Sharm el
Yeah.
Sheikh, and dive in the Red Sea.
Dope.
He's carrying a
So
Peruvian.
what I'm
parasite now,
hearing
so.
is we probably should get diving certification.
should.
Possibly.
that's what. Yeah,
You
Ben.
can-
Yeah.
and you
Ben
can
was
get them in
talking
the
to me
Red Sea.
about that.
Yeah.
Before.
So
in the
you can
stick
get them
was.
there too. But
Mhm.
it takes like 2 or 3 days if you want to get it in the Red Sea. It's you pay like half the price you would in the West to get your. But it's the
Oh
same.
damn!
PADI or SSI. I think you're all PADI over there.
Yeah.
And it's spectacular diving. Like the Red Sea is amazing. But we dove there. We dove at Dahab on the Red Sea, and then we went to Alexandria
Oh.
and dived.
Cool.
And we actually dived on the lighthouse. So the remnants
Dope.
of the forest, the lighthouse. So it's a you're out in the Mediterranean. It's like Alexandria is on the north coast of Egypt, and it's like massive granite columns and blocks and all this stonework that's underwater.
Oh,
And so you're diving on it. And
That's
and
so good.
It was cool.
Killer.
It was
like looking at Atlantis for real. It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Kind-
shit.
yeah, basically.
There's a lot of
So
stuff in the
cool.
water there, off Alexandria. So we definitely want to go back. There's some other spots to dive off there, but just diving in general in the Red Sea is really cool. Like the coral, it's very good visibility. Yeah, amazing stuff. So
That sounds fun.
Sounds like we got to do it.
Oh.
it is.
An
But you guys were okay with
adventure.
the altitude otherwise in Peru?
Yeah, I got
used
that
to
knocks
it.
people around.
Yeah.
Eventually, I just remember the
Couple
first
days.
First
day.
day. Yeah.
Little
well
dizzy.
to 3
day,
days because one of our first like walks, it was a mild hike, and I just remember standing there thinking, I don't know if I'm gonna
Our
make
first
it.
walk, our first
Dude.
walk was from the hotel to Sacsayhuaman, which is like a
Sacsayhuaman.
quarter mile. Where I
Well, you went
gassed by
uphill.
the time I got there.
Yeah.
What I
You
found
go
was
uphill.
interesting
Yeah.
is like you'll get winded quick, but once you stop to rest, you like instantly get back,
Yeah.
like you're back to normal, and then
And
you walk again.
Cusco,
You get
really good internet. Okay, like,
Yeah.
surprisingly.
I was expecting like
Impressive.
third world internet, and my internet was better than like fucking San Diego and San Francisco. Yeah, and
all three
nice
of us
hotels.
streamed from one hotel room. So.
Yeah, nice
Oh,
hotels.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually pulled off a stream even in Egypt. I've changed the way I do the mobile, I guess, bandwidth. All the Google Fi is what I'm using in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just great. And
Nice.
I streamed at
Starlink.
Karnak, and it was great. Oh yeah, Starlink's cool. It's just
the
illegal in
backpack
Egypt.
size.
Yeah, it
Why
doesn't
is
work in
that?
Egypt. Wow, they're like Australia to some degree. They put firewalls and everything they want to control in
Oh, okay.
access.
So what
And I actually heard
Google
it's-
Fi.
it's-
Google
Google
Fi.
5 is just it's cellular, but it's also like it's cheap and it's no roaming fee. It just works everywhere in the world pretty much.
All right.
Yeah. It's
We'll
and
try
I
that.
switch. Yeah, I mean it's $40 a line more or less. And
Well, I bring my shit with me everywhere. I've got it down to where I can kind of do it in a suitcase.
yeah,
So, but
very small
it
one.
has to go everywhere. It
Yeah.
just does.
well, if you have good bandwidth at the hotels, that's fine. But I'm doing like live streaming on like at Karnak, like walking around
Yeah.
with the,
Oh,
from
that's
the phone
awesome.
kind of thing. So, yeah, and then you mics that plug into it and whatever. But we were all super impressed with it, and I used that in Peru too. It's just nice because back in the day, like AT&T, you had to pay like $12 a day or whatever for roaming, and it's Google
insane.
Fi is just works.
Interesting.
It's like, hey, you're in
Okay.
Turkey, and off you go.
Yeah.
And I was getting like 100 megabits.
Okay, I guess we're gonna have to change that.
And it's
I had-
That's pretty good.
it's actually like a good price too. Nothing
Yeah,
not
I
crazy.
think it's like if you bundle a bunch of lines, it can get down to like whatever, $30-$40 a line. And it's 100. I think they just made it 100. It's unlimited, but they rate limit you if you go over the data. But I think it's 100 gigabytes a month, which is tons.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it was 51. They just upped it. It was 50 gigabytes a month. And I think one of us hit that limit, but mostly I think Kyle hit it because he had his like Apple backup on or whatever. It's just syncing to the
it's
cloud.
just-
So he's just chewing it
okay.
up the whole time.
Yeah.
But I mean, and Egypt in general, the hotel, a lot of the places, it's terrible bandwidth. So I would run my laptop. I'd be YouTube. I have the laptop running, and everything's always just running through that cellular data. And I wouldn't hit 50 in a month. That includes some streaming and stuff too. But now it's 100. So anyway, it's just
Sponsor our show.
It's good to
Google
know.
Fi. What the heck?
Google Fi.
Not a sponsor. Not a
Google
sponsor.
Fi. No,
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
just get it. Damn it. Yeah,
Yeah, I
because
mean-
I had to get that. I was on. I'm stupid T-Mobile, so I had like
Yeah.
I had to pay that $15. It wasn't worth a shit.
yeah.
And then
Yep.
it like then I
Trash.
reached the limit. Then I couldn't sign up again. I was like, oh,
I've been on AT&T forever, bro. And it's like $250 a month for 2 lines. It's so stupid. Now I pay $80 and that's it for 2
Yep.
lines. It's such, and it works better. I'm fine with it. I think it actually uses T-Mobile's network in the US, but
but you don't have to pay the T-Mobile price.
no.
There
it's
you
just-
go.
Yeah, it just uses
Yeah.
their network.
There
But-
you go.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. But that's the plan for this year. I'm trying to write this book. Yeah, the long version of what I was yammering on about between the vases and the.
Oh, so you're doing a book?
Yeah, I'm writing a book. Yes. There's
Oh, very
absolutely a hundred, and particularly with the vase. Like I had always planned to, but like 2 or 3 years ago when the vase stuff started coming out, I'm like, okay, this is really the central piece that I think that a whole theory can be put together in a perspective on this this whole tale of two industries thing. So I've been working on it for a while. And this is like Graham had given me some tips as well about like publishers and things like that. So yeah, I'm trying to continue to make content and not travel as much, but I also write this book. So yes, I have not published content in a while, and it's both because of travel and I'm trying to knock this book out. So.
Yeah, let me know how that works out because it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I know you're writing too, right? Yeah. Well, you have. You put one out already, or you?
It's
are working
coming
on it?
out in a couple
coming out.
weeks. Yeah,
Oh, good. Well, you've written it then, so
it's done.
that's good.
Hard part's done.
The hard part's
part's
done.
done.
Oh, now I get to
Now you get to do
talk
the book
about
tour.
it. Yay!
Go on everybody's podcast, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got one planned. It looks
I'm
like.
so excited for
Good.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can
We'll see
imagine.
about that one.
Yeah.
I'll tell you after the show. But for sure. Yeah, Cosmic Summit. Before we get to soups, we should talk about Cosmic Summit. So we gave away 10 HowTube. So you get the whole Cosmic Summit for free streaming. I heard George today, and he said it was like 48 hours of content. It's like 2
Wow.
full days of content was last year. So you're going to get that stuff. And I know I watched it over and over again, and I didn't get to see everybody's panels. So I got to see, because Randall's panels are long. They're great.
Oh yeah.
Long
workshops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the workshops and everything. So it's really good to have. So I guess we gave those away. But yeah, we're going to be at the Cosmic Summit. Ben will be at the Cosmic Summit. You'll be speaking. I have a panel. Yeah. How are you doing? One presentation or multiple?
I am doing. I think I'm definitely got a presentation. I'm also. I believe I'm on for a workshop, like a 3.5 hour thing, which I have a very. Like I have some good ideas about what I'd like to do to make that interactive and interesting. Hopefully, Yusuf can join me for that stuff. Like we're really trying to work on getting Yusuf over. I think he'd be great.
God,
particularly
I'd
for
love
the
to meet that
workshop.
dude. He's
Yeah.
a rock star.
Me too.
Yeah, he's
Me too.
awesome. My brother, he's yeah. So it's dependent on the the visa situation.
Yeah.
So he's it's in and we'll see. But George has actually been super helpful with trying to facilitate that because George is connected. So
Dope.
hopefully we can make it happen. But yeah,
We'll
I'm
will it
thinking-
he's a
into
good dude.
existence.
I think I'm on a panel and I think I'm doing I'll do a workshop and a presentation. So I'll be around the whole weekend.
So will we. We'll have some
It'll be good.
fun.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the more entertaining. Like I love these conferences, but they could be a little dry at times. Okay, this one's not. There's like
George makes it a party, man.
George makes it a party.
Oh yeah.
Just go look how he was dressed last year with his little 70s
The
disco
disco.
outfit.
Yeah,
That was so
yeah.
funny.
All white.
And you got all the ancient, civilization people out there dancing on the dance floor.
Dude, that was so funny.
It's good.
That was a good time, man.
And that
Like they
disco
do party. Look at Shock go.
Oh, even like
Socks
there,
break dancing.
there was a music night that they were playing live music.
Yeah.
We played. Yeah. I played.
Yeah,
I played. with
Ben
him
was
that night.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
$50 Kyle's band.
House band's
$50
good.
Dynasty, and he was kind enough to let me play along with him. So
Hey, you didn't fuck up anything. That was pretty good.
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, he probably turned my mic way down.
He's like-
No, it was fun. Yeah.
No.
we jam a lot. I mean, we play on these tours, right? That's one of the reasons I love those boys. Like we just play a lot of music. And, like on these tours, we do a lot of live music for people. So one of my favorite parts about it is we jam.
Hell yeah.
So
Snake Bros are good dudes. Give them a follow. The Brothers
They
of
are.
the Serpent. They gave me their vinyl. They came over. They gave me their vinyl
The
copy.
vinyl?
It's- oh, God, they're
Dope.
so fucking good. The band is so
Procession's-
good.
Procession's such a, and it's like for anyone who's into these topics, like it's just square and center, like
Yep.
where the stories lie, Tower of Babel. It's literally, it's written about a lot of these topics that you guys talk about on this show, and Kyle's an incredible musician and songwriter. So it's a fantastic album. It blows my mind that they never like made it. It's just like the randomness of the music industry. because their band
Yep.
is super quality.
They
they're
like
they're
maybe like
incredibly
10 years ago they would have made it. Like if it wasn't so effed up. But yeah, they're underachievers. You know, they just start wineries and music and travel the world.
Yep.
Fucking lazy ass.
Yep.
Let's
back
get
to
the
work.
soups. Yeah, get back to work. Yeah, I was chit chatting with Randall, and somebody was asking him at the conference, like, "Are you mad at the Snake Bros?" He's all, "No, they're busy. they're traveling.
Always doing
They've
something.
been in Turkey. They got the winery. So I love those guys. It was great to see Randall and Graham together on a
Oh, it's
stage.
Sedona?
Yeah.
That was really
So
cool.
seeing them back together
Yeah, get the old
was
the power team back together.
was
Yeah,
good for
It is.
humanity.
I think so,
so,
too.
Yeah. Cosmic Summit's gonna be great. I think there's gonna be.
Yeah, I wish I was there. And I wish I
people.
could have made it to Sedona. I had some people reach out to me about that. And I'm just like, I'm overseas.
Yeah,
But yeah.
it was lucky accident. Garrett got to see about like a third of it, but
I
you
got to
made
see
it.
a little bit, but it was good.
We
It
were
was
in
good.
Vegas, and I just said, "Fuck it, it's a 4-hour drive. Let's go." And it was a great drive too. Wow, love that
Dude,
drive.
into the
Beautiful
canyons
drive.
there. It's just so cool.
Oh yeah.
Drunk mummified Ryan for $99.99. Let's celebrate 100 episodes the right way. Hell yeah! I'm so excited. And you know what started this show was Ancient Apocalypse, and it looks like we're probably gonna get season 3. And fucking Grant, like Ben's writing a book, Graham's writing a book. Like there's some good shit coming. I can't wait. Hurry up, Ben. I want to read your book.
Yeah.
fucking
I'm
hurry
trying.
up.
dude.
God, I've been saying that for a couple of years.
Yeah, right. Carnal Nature for $20 says thanks for being you, and it's a super sticker. Thank you very much. We'll all continue being us. I promise. Until we're dead. Then we won't be us anymore. The Singing Tigs for $2 says happy 100th. By the way, X-Ray thinks belly button is the third hole. Okay, I don't even want to know that lore. I don't want to know.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Oh.
I'm not smart.
You
okay?
actually
sometimes.
well, I mean Ben is, but we aren't. So I mean, we have more than 3 holes. So
Yeah.
any one could be the third hole. I just don't think it's a belly button. Okay. Ryumble for $10 says, hey guys, the city of San Antonio just had an election for mayor with minimal voter turnout. I know. The runoff election is June 7th. Vote for Rolando Pablos to give San Antonio a chance. Vote local. I went and vote for one. Okay, I don't want to get too started on this. We had an election in fucking April, so it's like we're within 6 months. I guess it's a reasonable amount of time, but like, goddamn, we just had the presidential election that went on for 4 fucking years. Okay, but I made it to this election because I'm the idiot who goes vote local all the time, and nobody showed up. Like, there's nobody there, and it's like, we're gonna fucking lose every time unless we hit these local ones. We just are.
That's true.
And
Yep,
a bunch of
you're right.
unopposed Democratic judges on that fucking ballot again, unopposed,
Yep.
like 12. So I'm like, God damn it. So yeah, I'm I live in technically in San Antonio, and we have a knucklehead mayor and a sheriff who's a complete retard.
That
Complete
sucks.
retard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like one of the top cops too. You know what he wanted to do? The sheriff of San Antonio wanted to press charges against Ron DeSantis for taking the undocumented immigrants to Martha's Vineyard.
Oh,
Man,
what is he
had
gonna
a
go
big old-
do? Go get him?
Kidnapping?
Yeah, you're gonna get round up a posse from
Yeah, what the
Texas.
heck?
It's like that's how much of an idiot he is. He had a
So
big press
dumb.
conference. He's a tard. Don't get me started. Gollum's half botch circumcision leftover. Bet you love coming on the show, Ben. For
Pretty sure he's
25
in my chat sometimes too, that guy.
you're
Hey.
good. Chats are good. Your chats are good. It gets. I'm in Discords. Right, especially this. I'm in the Serpent Bros Discord. It's funny in there. It's funny. Oh, let me read this. And X-Ray Girl, I have to ask you a question. Hey, look, It's the old jars guy. Sup, bro? Where are you going to live again? He lives here. He lives here.
Me?
This is an American right here.
I
Ben
think
is an
when are
I
you
American.
am an
going
American
live
now.
again?
Yes, but I am getting out of California. That is also for
Good,
sure.
good.
Are ya?
nice.
Good.
Oh yeah. Plans
Nice.
plans and wheels are in motion for that.
Good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm
You
done.
have to tell me where.
I will.
Yeah. Yeah. X-Ray Girl, we're going to do a Discord for Forbidden Frontier.
Oh, I think I asked you a question that went unanswered, but I might have asked you 2 questions at the same time, which is why you never
Don't ask me
answered it.
2 questions.
Yeah,
It's-
you got to
I
ask
never
one
do that.
question, and if anybody puts
Ah.
anything under that, then he's never going to read it.
We can do Forbidden Frontier Discord. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Do you think we should do that?
Yeah.
I love it.
Chat, what do you think? Should we do a Forbidden
Well, the
Frontier
chat
Discord?
suggested it. So,
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Okay.
That is correct.
The chat is correct.
Okay.
because
I
I'm
can
in everybody
comment.
else's Discords and like I'm going to stay there because they're fun. I mean, I there's a Nerdrotic Discord that
It's wild
I
there.
think I was in that.
yeah.
I think I'm in that.
Who started it? I think Krista
Krista
and
helped set it up, and then I got the mods, and we're here where we are now.
and it just took on a life of its own. It's
Just let it-
wild. Yeah.
Grow.
You just let
Yeah.
it grow and do its thing, and it's wonderful. Eric K for $5. If Gary got buried with all his dolls
I saw this.
Bro.
10,000 years from now, and they would think he worships a lot of different gods. Yes, there are some gods. There are
Literal.
some. They make 1/6 scale like Egyptian
Metal, right?
gods.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's pretty sick, actually.
it is actually.
Yeah,
But-
that would be
and those are
pretty
going to go
badass.
into the forbidden frontiers
Yes.
for sure. Yeah,
I can't wait to see that.
yeah. They had one. They had one at the or not the. I was thinking what Ben said. Whatever the what was it? Fight for the Past with Graham's thing.
Yeah.
Sedona.
It was like $5,000. I was like,
Okay,
"Get the
bro.
fuck
Bring
outta
it
here."
down. Bring it down
Fucking-
here.
What was
Chris-
the size of it?
It was 1/6 scale
So 12 inches. It's a 12 inch.
Wow.
Egyptian god, and I was like, I'm getting that, and I'm like, no,
Never mind.
fucking crystal hippies.
That's crazy.
Quantum Sledgehammer for $10. Happy 100th episode. Hail the Forbidden Frontier, and here's to hundreds of more episodes. Well, eventually there will be hundreds because we will eventually go to more than once a week.
Mm.
That
Oh,
is
really?
a plan.
Cool.
Time is-
Eventually.
Oh.
eventually, you know. Getting old.
It's a great crossover. Yeah, you're a busy man. You do a lot of I should take some lessons from you in terms of the way that you actually create
I don't know
content
about
and
that.
get onto YouTube. I'm at the other end of the scale from you. It's like I don't put anything out for like a month usually. I'm
Yeah, but when
working
you
on
put
it.
something out, like I'm friends with Mahler. I mean, he puts out something once a year.
Jeez,
But-
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've just been
but-
watching one of his recently. I'm like, it's only 6 hours long. Yeah.
Oh,
I know
my
it's a short. It's a
Only.
Mahler short.
Yeah.
But Ben, you should be. You're like the Mahler of ancient civilizations. When you put something out, nice and long,
Quality.
ladies, and it's quality. It's pure quality.
Thank you, sir.
Good stuff. Gollum's half-botched circumcision leftover again for 25,000 Martian pesos. I'm stuck in a flood part of the country. I just ate some moldy food. Expect erratic behavior. LOL. Be careful.
Cheers.
Good luck.
Moldy food can be bad or worse. It's not like eating, mushrooms. Gary, since Zorbu will not help when you are away, get a Starlink sponsorship. Elon could fund us all. He could.
Good.
But I don't want to be one of the assholes asking Elon for money. I really don't. And I have Starlink on my phone. It's part of the T-Mobile thing. When you roam, you get Starlink now. And
Really interesting.
haven't
That's
noticed
cool.
any improvement yet. So we'll see. And you guys were in the car. I drove a Cybertruck. I told the story before, and I put it into self-driving mode, and it took me on a one-way road the wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
Oh
shit.
my.
It did. There was a lot of construction, to be fair, but see, this is why you're not do not put it in self-driving mode. like ever. Because if it get confused by a couple of weeks construction, changing a lane or something like that, then no, I'm not going to put my life in its hands. No, thanks.
Yeah.
Have fun
I
with your
agree.
automation, kids.
Yeah.
Craig Morning for $10. They seem to fit my concept of the nubs. X-Ray Girl really liked the nubs in Peru, by the way. If you vibrate something, it reduces friction dramatically. If the nubs were contact points and these tracks are the rails, things could buzz along.
Interesting.
But that would be holding a current, right? I mean, it's granite, but that's tough. I don't know like how it holds a current. I've been kicked out of 3 high schools.
It's not a current, it's a vibration. But how
It's
do
a
you
vibration?
how are you making the vibration is the question.
Didgeridoos.
I don't know.
Giant
Oh my
didgeridoos.
god, can you imagine? Those are hard to play.
You tried to play one?
Well, I just even tried to
Do the breathing.
use it properly. I'm trying not to say
yeah.
the words.
You were trying to
How
blow
would you
and it
play
didn't
one?
work out.
Yeah.
Show the chat. How would you play one?
No, like
It's like bagpipes. It's like good
Yeah.
luck playing bagpipes, man. That is, whew, you gotta have some lungs
Maybe.
for that shit.
Yeah.
Rubate for $5 Australian says the what is this X-Ray Girl?
Archaeos.
The Archaeos,
Archaeos.
as recently as this weekend, claim that there have been a split/parting in a vase. PR. The Archaeos.
Is this a YouTube channel, maybe, or
Or maybe he's just talking about the archaeologist.
archaeologist? Yeah,
Maybe
just
that's a derogatory term.
Claim there's a what?
Those archaeos. It's
As
not
this
bad,
weekend claim
actually.
that there has been a they claim there's a split and parting in the vase. I'm
Oh,
sure they would claim that without looking at it. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Split
But-
parting.
Like
in
there's a
phase,
seam?
yeah, what do you mean? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
like a
no,
seam, possibly.
Yeah, there's no seam.
That's
That,
Like
that
it's-
is not
Like
there.
it's 2 halves or something. I don't
And
know.
what did
This
they
is
get
the
some?
geopolymer idea? They don't. I mean, the
Yeah.
archaeologists support that idea any more than I do.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, I've not seen that, and we've studied a lot of them.
Well, they got some pre-dynastic super glue and just
Well, I
put
mean,
it together.
Honestly, a lot of them are. You see them in museums. They are put back. I mean, the archaeologists will glue them back together and go, "Woo!"
Because they broke. Yeah.
Yeah, they're busted, and they're happy with it. It's fine. I mean, then that's fine, but it's not. Yeah, they're not typically the ones you want to try and study.
No.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's fine for even the schist disc and things like that are all put back together. Like the schist disc has sections of it that are literally made up, like repairs.
Man, I would have loved to get one of those vases when they were affordable.
Oh,
damn.
Yeah.
I saw one
Right.
$50,000, and that's like
That's reasonable.
Oh my
I think that's
God.
That's
I think
cheap.
that's reasonable.
for these.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's one of the. I mean, it's the other people carry on and talk about them being fakes and like, these were fakes that fell off a truck and they're all fakes made for the the 70s or 80s or 90s. I'm like, okay, you
How?
you would you would have problems making them that precisely even back before the invention of like 5-axis computer controlled CNCs just to get that level of precision and with lug handled vases and things. And the other part is there's like, are there fake antiquities? Yes, there are,
Yes.
but not these. Like nowadays, maybe. Like people might make them now because they're worth something, but these really weren't worth that much back then on the antiquities market. If you wanted to make money with fake antiquities, you're making, statues, paintings, tile, mosaics, however you say that, mosaics. Those are known, and they go for massive amounts of money. They're much easier to fake than a extremely complex, a hard stone vase that has no inscriptions on it. And if it is a fake, why are you making it so precise? Like no one was analyzing them for precision back then.
Yep.
I mean, there's so many reasons that's a stupid idea to suggest that they're fake replicas from the 90s or from the 60s or whatever. It's just none of it makes any sense whatsoever. People didn't want them. It's like an unadorned. You can't. They want stuff with writing on it or statuary things that you can flex to your fellow rich friends with, and that is obviously ancient Egyptian. It's just It's just a stone vase otherwise. So.
And that's who has all the real cool shit are all the rich oligarchs and
Oh, tons of it. I mean,
sultans and stuff. You know,
people have very little idea about just how much of this stuff is in private collection. I mean, you can go into a museum. It's funny because, you know, Flint Dibble is like out there telling Matt Bell, like, oh, stop buying looted artifacts and carrying on. Yet half the museums, if you actually look carefully at the plaques, it's like, this is on loan from this extremely rich person who doesn't have room for it in their castle anymore, and they've given it to the museum to put on display. I mean, there's so much of this stuff is in private hands, and that's always been the nature of antiquities. I mean, ever since there's been antiquities and money, people have been buying them. I mean, shit, Flinders Petrie, I mean, I think they have 10,000 artifacts in the Petrie Museum, and it's literally his teaching stock. This is in the University College of London. It's the bottom 10% of what he took out of Egypt. It's like the lowest quality stuff that he
heard
took
about
out of
that
Egypt.
when we were there. We never got a chance to go.
Yeah.
But we heard about that.
That's where his core is, and a lot of vases, and even with those, I think the Carolee and Adam and Kyle, they studied like 20 some vases they scanned. There's absolutely vases that are in the precision class. There's some that aren't, which is consistent with, you know, Matt Bell's collection and all the other sort of collections of vessels that have been studied. But it does reflect basically the lowest quality stuff that Petrie had. All of his good, high quality stuff he gave away to his supporters, his patrons, kept for himself. I mean, I'm sure they're in the hands of private collections and family now. You know. So
has the University Flint Dibble Works, have they given back all their stuff?
At Cardiff,
yeah.
Well, he's actually. I mean, occasionally he gets in the shit for some of the things that they've, you know, the stuff that they've done with either Native American remains and stuff. I don't really pay much attention to it, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not. I mean, I think he does criticize Matt for buying looted artifacts, but it's like they're all looted artifacts. Like, what do you want? Like, my personal opinion. I mean, like Egypt's been asking for the Rosetta Stone back for 120, 200 years or something, right? Yeah, you saw it. Yeah, but it's like, as long, I'm like, it's so much stuff, particularly from Egypt, they couldn't put it all on display. As long as it's on display somewhere in the world and people can see it, fine.
Yep.
That's my perspective on that.
British Museum, I'm sure you've been 100 times, Ben.
Well, no, a couple times, but
a couple times. Yeah. Fucking amazing. I went with Adam and Quarterblack, and who was it said, some Brit said, we stole the best shit. We really did.
Yeah. I think, was it Jack Tarlin? I don't know. He was with us.
It might.
I got to get you to Egypt, man. They still have trust me, they have some good shit in the Egypt. Still the best Egyptian. I mean, the Sumerian section in the British Museum is unbelievable.
Yes, it was very cool.
As is the Egyptian. They have some good stuff, but still, I mean, it's sort of a stupid thing to say, but the best ancient Egyptian museums are for sure the ones in Egypt, like the Cairo Museum, and then now the Grand Egyptian Museum, the new one, which is I mean, I don't like how they've done everything in there, but they've got some really amazing shit in there. Like it's impressive.
Yeah. Ruben Christopher Haynes for $10 says the PETM was what's that? What's the PETM, Ruben?
I have no clue.
Check the chat. Was 55.8 million years ago, in my opinion, is the best evidence for a high-level civilization back then. It is the geological record and lasted about 200,000 years. I'll have to look that up, Ruben. What's up, Ruben, by the way? Adam Plays Games for $5 says, these cart ruts were from an extremely large peanut butter cookie, and there are... and these are the fork marks. Okay, well, maybe that's what our planet was. Okay.
Yum.
Down
the tops of the planet.
Rhino Tyrannus, $14.99 Australian dollars, says maybe the cart ruts were some kind of rail system.
Yeah.
That who fucking knows? They are bizarre and amazing. All at the same. I can't wait to go see the ones outside of Austin. Teacher Mr. Shortbus for $2. Subbing AP history tomorrow. Thanks for the lesson plan.
Sweet.
Hey,
cool.
Yeah.
Stop. Short bus, Dave. Shout out.
Watch an Uncharted X video while you're there.
Yeah. Sub to Uncharted X. Admin for $14.99 Australian. Science, in quotes, says the ruts were made by moderately loaded carts that rolled on wet limestone. Apparently, Malta limestone is weak when wet. It should therefore be replicable, right? Trust the science. Yeah, just like cutting Egyptian stone was. They tried to replicate that with water and like a bronze fucking saw or whatever.
Yeah,
I saw copper bar. Yeah, that went well.
You'll grind through it eventually, but it doesn't look anything like the ancient examples. Yeah. And one of these days, I'm going to do an analysis on the industrial scale that's required to cut the granite at Giza, for example, on the plateau. I mean, because we have rates where people have done the tests, and you grind away, you use this much copper, and it takes about this long to cut through this much granite. You can kind of work backwards if you estimate the number of blocks that you have. And I think the industrial scale and the amount of man hours would be astronomical. It's one of those things I'm going to do. At some point.
Yeah. The caloric cost always baffles me on these things. It's like you have to feed the people over that amount of time.
All of that.
Like all that stuff.
Yes, that. You can see here, we achieved this in just a few days. It's like it's from one of Mark Lehner videos where he's cut. That's in two poor Egyptian guys like grinding away on this bar for days, and they cut about an inch and a half into it.
We did it.
We did.
Gollum's half botch circumcision left over for 10,000 Martian pesos. Says call Erdogan WEF's beach, and you'll see results. Okay. I'll be sure next time I see him, I'll call him WEF's bitch, not beach. Neil Horn for $10. The precision of those artifacts reflects a society that had the population, resources, technology, and time to devote to making them. Similar to the cathedrals in Europe. Great show, guys. Thank you, Neil. I love when Randall brings up the cathedrals.
Yeah.
Because we can't do those either.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those we can't do now.
Yeah. No, we certainly don't.
Gollum's half botch circumcision for 20. What is a PYG, X-Ray girl?
It's a pretty young girl, I believe.
So 25,000 pretty young girls.
Paraguayan Guarani.
Okay. He says English is my fourth or sixth language. Leave me alone. Also, precision is a flex of that culture, kinda. What color is your
Bugatti?
Bugatti.
Bugatti. What color is your Bugatti?
Drunk mummified Ryan for $9.99. The reason Egyptian mummies are rare is because Europeans ate most of them. Yep. So when Disbrew talks about the superiority of British food for a few hundred years, that cuisine involved ground up people. Well, I mean, they live on an island. What are they going to do?
They have to do something to their food to make it taste better.
Disbrew, our British friend, will have a plate of beautiful food, American food in front of him and go, what? Why? Why do you have so much?
What was it that he complained about at the
death
barbecue place?
Why do you have to put sauce on your food to make it taste good?
Yeah, because it's good.
What do you mean?
Actually, I could eat a brisket by itself. It's good
True.
by itself. You just add
A
the
good
sauce
brisket.
because why not? Add some extra.
He's British, okay? Beans on fucking toast. That's all you need to say.
Mushy peas.
It's not even good beans. It's not even like pork and beans. Yeah. It's fucking beans and ketchup. That's what it is.
Ew.
Yeah. Bro, you guys are still living right after the freaking World War II.
I was watching
Living off
Clark's
those
Farm,
rations.
and he's like, "Oh, I've got a piece of lamb in the fridge. Little butter on my bread. I'm all butter and meat. Who the fuck eats butter and meat? That's disgusting.
Wait, butter as a
Melody
side
mash?
dish?
Right.
No,
What do you mean?
okay.
Probably.
Like if you toast the bread, okay.
Yeah.
No, he didn't toast the bread. He took a piece of white bread out, fucking slathered it with a bunch of butter, and put a piece of lamb on it, like cold lamb. And I'm like, oh, fucking Christ.
What the fuck?
Yuck.
Okay,
Man,
that's
I don't
pretty
know.
basic.
Fucking
All right, I
Brits,
get you.
man.
Butter
going
on
on?
bread.
Yeah, they got war rations. Multiple generations ate war rations for a long
Literally,
time.
it-
So
A lot of
Melted
those
their brains.
boiled down to Australia too. We have the beans on toast and buttering white bread. I used to hate that as a kid. Like just the butter on sandwiches. Stop.
yeah,
Why?
Not required.
no.
Yeah, unnecessary.
Do you put butter for PB&J, Garrett?
No.
No.
Ew.
People do that. Yes. It's you already
Maybe
have
if it's
peanut
toasted.
butter.
If
Yeah.
it's toasted.
If it's
then
toasted, that's
maybe.
acceptable.
But
okay?
like cold butter on a cold piece of bread.
The only good thing
What are
is
you doing?
white bread, butter, and what do they call it? The thousands, like fairy bread. You heard of this? Like it's like, what are those little candy, the little like 1,000 sprinkles? You know those?
Oh, yeah.
They're called fairy bread.
I've heard
Talking about
fairy
as a
bread.
Fairy bread.
That's good.
Yeah, butter,
Yes.
white like Wonder Bread, butter, and then sugar.
Basically
Yeah, that's
sugar.
pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah,
little yeah.
But
We do that
toasted
with-
though.
No,
do
no,
that with
no,
like a
no,
little bit of
no, not
No,
cinnamon.
don't toast it. No.
It's pretty much candy at that point. It becomes kind of
Oh,
like
okay.
a little
Well, it's all
mini.
candy. I mean, it's candy
I'll
and a bit of fat.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
just
Just
so
little
everyone can
cancer
get
balls.
an
Okay.
idea.
Yeah, I like pineapple pizza because I have taste. Okay,
Ugh,
chat.
ugh,
There
you
you
have
go,
no
fairy
taste.
bread.
That's why.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
that's-
I've
there
seen
it
that.
is. Yes. Yes.
I forgot what they call the sprinkles, like thousands, like whatever they call.
Sprinkles.
I
is
don't know how
good.
to say that. Not
In Philadelphia, they call sprinkles jimmies. I always thought that was weird.
Hundreds of
That is
thousands.
weird.
That's it. Yeah.
Jimmy's.
Yeah, they call them jimmies.
What's the etymology on that? Like, why?
I have no idea. Philly's got
Jersey.
its own language.
Yeah.
That's mysterious.
Yeah.
guy
Jimmy
called
sounds like
Jimmy.
something that happens to you, and it's not good.
Sounds like something
I
that
don't wanna get
Russell,
Jimmy.
oh my god.
You got jimmied.
Jimmy, man.
Russell's Jimmy's.
All right, we're gonna wrap things up. Ben, thank you for coming on and hanging out with us.
Thank you for the invite. It's always a good time. Congrats on the 100 shows, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Garrett, what do you got coming up?
Nothing.
Okay.
Go subscribe to my channel. Go do that.
We might be doing a video tomorrow. I'll tell you.
Hey, all right.
Yeah.
Well,
An article popped up that's pretty good.
really?
Yeah. Yeah. Adam.
Well, I got Base Staff Monday tomorrow, and then I've been doing an Oblivion playthrough on Tuesday through Thursday. It's been a blast because I played it when it first came out, so revisiting that nostalgia to the max. And then Friday, I do jam nights. I just play these guitars behind me. I just finished recording a song for the first time, maybe ever, actually, and people have been asking me, so I actually did it. And I'm going to continue. I've got another song I wrote, The Holocene. You guys may have remembered it. I played it here first live. And yeah, I've just been doing that. So keep an eye out. Thank you.
IRC Jimmy's are slightly racist relic terminology from Massachusetts.
I didn't know.
And we use it too.
How? Why?
What's slightly
what,
racist?
What do you mean slightly racist?
Yeah. I mean,
It's either is or it isn't, isn't it? I mean,
What does that mean?
well, it's just slightly, you know? Like a quarter
racist
black.
adjacent.
Yeah, it's like a little bit.
What do
racist.
you got coming up, X-Ray Girl?
Tomorrow the nooner on this channel. This channel, both.
Yeah.
And then I think I'm playing Split Fiction with Kara. I do have some Streamlabs that snuck in, as well as some super chats that.
Read 'em.
Okay, Andrew Matthews for £2 says, "Have you measured the wheelbase of a DeLorean?" Imagine.
Ah. Bet you haven't
Hey,
done that, Ben.
Great comment. Yeah, that's a good
Uh-huh.
one. Yeah. We
The
should definitely
singing,
do that.
the singing takes for two says Gary's fave movie. I now pronounce you Zorbu and Gary.
Mhm.
Okay.
What started that in chat, by the way? Everyone, it's been going.
Oh yeah,
Just-
it's been going.
It's
Zorbu?
awesome, though.
Zorbu?
Yeah, I
Zorbu
love
the
it.
Barbarian.
I
Yeah,
love it.
Zorbu movies.
That happens every now and then in chats. I love it.
It's fantastic.
Mokeli Mbe.
Yeah.
Anyways, for $20
Malimbe.
says, "Hi Gary, my
Oh.
name is Mokeli Mbembe. I am the famous cryptid swamp dwelling sauropod from the Congo. How are you doing today, Gary? I love the show you have, Gary. I like it so much. I have selected you to help me with the problem. Since 1913, I have get from USAID trust almost $20 million held at Belgium National Savings and Trust Association. If you can obtain this money, I can place a $1 million down payment with the San Antonio Zoo for the flight to bring me to US of A. As cryptid, I prohibited by the Congo Code of Finance Bureau from transfers by Belgium accounts to mine, but you can. So we agree to offer you 20% middleman fee of all transferred fund monies transaction. First, you must spend $200 to test account. So Gary, I am hoping to see you soon at San Antonio Zoo. I contact you again soon with the account number. I love US of A.
Your Asian comes out so strong. It's so
I
funny.
don't know why it went
You're
Asian.
you're trying to do an African, and it's so Asian.
I was feeling the African accent. Okay, actually, I think you're doing a great job.
She's an African
Only-
Asian.
Oh my
I'm
god.
so sorry.
So funny.
And then I really apologize for this last one. Flynn Dibble, apparently, who's a fan of the show,
What's up,
sent to
Flint?
Streamlabs for $10, says, I had pussy since pussy had me.
Well, clearly it's the real Flint Dibble. So
Yeah. I ain't had pussy since pussy had me. I'm writing that shit down. That's funny.
Why do this to me? Whoever. I wish Gary
Oh my
read that
God.
one.
Oh.
I'm glad you read it. I'm so sorry. Should have made Ben read it.
And one for the guest.
Thank you guys. That was the laugh I needed. Sorry, Ben. Ben, what do you have coming up?
We ran through it, but yeah, I'm going to be at the New Living Expo this weekend in the Bay Area, and then Cosmic Summit in June. Other than that, trying to get some more content out.
Excellent.
Nice.
And I can't wait for it. And a
Go
book.
subscribe.
And a book, yeah, book, and
And you got to plan your presentation for Cosmic Summit. No pressure.
yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, that's. I know.
Oh,
what I'm
you.
doing.
That's. I can't wait.
I
to
haven't
see
done
too.
it yet, but I know what I'm going to talk about pretty much.
Oh, good.
I'm going to
Yeah.
let other people talk about the Kafra scan stuff. I'm tired
Yeah.
of hearing about it, so I'm going
Me
to do
too.
some other things.
Yeah,
Mm.
I'll just listen. I'll just listen. That's where I'll be at that one. I think it's Moria.
And if you're in Manhattan the week, I think the 26th of June, we'll be doing the evening at the Explorers Club, which should be a lot of fun. Explorers Club in New York City is really cool. I've been in there.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Well, thanks again for coming on.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, we'll do it again soon, and I'll see you at Cosmic Summit.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
We just released a video on the Thunderbolts that could have been 30 minutes long, but I decided to make it 20. Didn't know I had that much to say about it, but we had a lot to say. I had to throw in a joke about BetterHelp. That's why I didn't come
That
out
was
till 3 in
good.
the afternoon. Thank you. But thanks everyone. We'll be back next week with more. Actually, we have Luke next week, right? So we
Yes,
have
we
Luke
do.
Caverns next week.
Sweet.
Then following, I'm going to call my shot here. I put a documentary in our little chat thing. So there's a Zero Point Energy documentary from about 10 years ago. The guy died like while he was making it, and I saw this on Y-Files. So, and it really Y-Files went into like all the scientists who and engineers who died from 2003 to about 2013 who were all working on Zero Point Energy. Yeah, and and it's like it's an insane number of people who died like mysteriously. So we're gonna go over that. I'm gonna have to do some research on it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
that's fun. So that's 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, that's 2 weeks
Yes.
from now.
Epic. All right.
Yeah, the Zero Point Energy thing is a trip. It's a trip.
I agree.
All right. So that's it. See you on the Nooner tomorrow. Oh, thank you, Zorbu. Thank you, Zorbu. Let us know how your visit with Garrett went next week. It'll happen tonight, and he will ask for it. He will. He gives you consent. Yeah. So until next time, everybody. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Welcome to the Forbidden Frontier